well is that we need to find more evidence, and this is the reason that South Polar region of the moon is significant, and all the countries are targeting that region.
South Polar region is significant and a lot of countries are targeting. One reason, Shrishti, is that that region has largely remained unexplored. If I'm correct, it's called the dark side of the moon because not much is known about there, and I believe it's literally the dark side of the moon and it's colder. Could you tell us a bit more about this unexplored region of the moon?
Rightly said, this is a vastly unexplored part of the moon. What makes it challenging to discover and probably do more experiments there is because it's relatively dark. The amount of sunlight that reaches this surface is very low. So, whenever the missions are planned, they're planned in a certain way that some part of sunlight can reach, which is used to power these spacecrafts. Once the lander successfully lands on the lunar surface, it derives its energy from the solar panels. So, we are still able to cover that region, and like in this case, ISRO's mission is going to last for 14 Earth days, which basically equals to one lunar day, while the Russians are planning.
Chandrasekhar sir, successful separation, just a step away from a successful soft landing.
Look, I think the journey that Chandrayaan as a program and Chandrayaan 3 in particular has been extremely one that makes every Indian proud. We have certainly demonstrated to the world, ISRO has, and the whole ecosystem around ISRO in design, manufacturing, that we are amongst the leading nations in the world in terms of this type of capability. And I'm very pleased today that Chandrayaan 3 has completed the separation phase successfully. And I hope that we will soon be browsing the surface of the moon.
So this adds to the soft power of the country?
No, it adds to the deep technology capabilities, it adds to the confidence of our nation, and it certainly positions India and the young Indians that to be a central player in the decade of technology opportunities that are coming in front of us. The decade, as the Honorable Prime Minister has branded it, that in that decade, space and space-linked technologies are going to be a very important part of the technology ecosystem, and that the Indian ecosystem in space and allied technologies will play a defining role there.
Thank you, sir.
That was the Minister of IT speaking exclusively to my colleague Harish Upadhyay and talking about the fact that the next one decade is going to be India's decade when it comes to technology of any kind. Harish, the key takeaways from what the Minister really said, and he rightly said that the next 10 years are going to be how India critically contributes to the emerging technology, including the space technology.
Absolutely. Look at the initiatives by ISRO. It's a huge year lined up for ISRO. You have the Aditya mission that's there. You have Gaganyaan, the works of which is currently on. There's a separate team that's working on it. Let's also not forget, at the same time, we've already had 2 successful missions with private players. There's a new space division that is working extremely well. India has already been one of the major go-to partners for several countries by launching their satellites. So that program is taking off. So clearly, as the Minister said, perhaps in the next decade, you will see ISRO scaling these initiatives much higher than what it is right now, and could become one of the leading space agencies.
Former ISRO Chief, Mr. Dr. K. Sivan is joining us on the broadcast. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to us. Good afternoon. It's a big day. That successful separation has already happened. Your first thoughts on this successful completion of this important step?
This is actually a very complex activity, and we are happy that it is happened smoothly without any hitch.
Right,
and
sir.
This is another major milestone, I would say. This one. Okay.
Sir, my last question to you about how Chandrayaan 2, from Chandrayaan 2 to Chandrayaan 3, what kind of learnings ISRO has had, and as we look forward to the completion of this mission, how confident you are, sir?
Basically, this we have gone through the data of Chandrayaan 2 and find out that error, what really happened. Then that errors have been corrected. That's number one. Number two, this particular mission we added more margin, design margin. Number three, wherever the redundancy is increased, this one. That way, now this confidence level for this mission is more. So we are expecting that this will happen very nicely without any problem. This one.
I- in the effort to understand the southern part of the moon, which has remained mystery to the scientific community, how big of a contribution India can make through this mission, sir?
So definitely, this is that South Pole region was not explored region. So by going there, definitely we have some new science findings, which will be useful for the entire humankind of the world. This new science finding. That way, its contribution is very large from Chandrayaan 3.
Right, sir. So my concluding question to you, compared to the Russians or the Americans, how well India has done in your understanding, in your experience?
No, we cannot compare with others. We have done our job very well without any flaw. That way, we can say that we are doing a job. Now, we cannot compare with we are better than others, not like that. So, we are doing the job to our satisfaction. That's all.
Dr. K. Sivan, always a pleasure speaking with you, sir, the former ISRO chief, speaking exclusively here on CNN News 18. Thank you for your time, Mr. Sivan, and thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Don't compare us. We have a separate journey altogether. That's what Mr. Sivan has said. And it is a big, big moment because that separation has happened. It has happened successfully. The lander and the rover have separated. And let me try and also get you more reactions, more voices coming in. We want to put out these graphics to you. We've been theoretically talking about this separation. What exactly does it look like? CNN News 18 gets you these graphics together, this animation that has also been put out by ISRO, how the lander and the rover separate, what exactly happens and how important this is. What is soft landing? Soft landing is exactly something that you're going to witness on the 23rd of August when it finally happens. But this is how the separation happens. Now, why does it become so critical? Why does it become so important and tricky? Because there are challenging situations, a different gravity which is operating there. Also something that it needs to happen at a certain speed, at a certain pace, at a certain angle. And all of those things need to be correct to the T. There cannot be any kind of lapses, though most of the experts have pointed out that this time India had a backup for everything. As far as this part is concerned, the scientists were not so worried. They were confident. They were fairly confident. I want to cut across once again back to Shrishti. She is with us on the broadcast. Shrishti, we were just putting out these animated graphics that ISRO has also put out. How the separation really happens, what does it look like. But break it down for a layperson. What are the challenging circumstances, different conditions that exist in this space under which the separation happens?
So this time, to explain to our viewers, this time what ISRO did was that it used an integrated spacecraft where it used a propulsion module which is about 2100 kgs, and then the lander, which had rover in it, was was integrated on top of this propulsion module. The entire weight of the spacecraft is about 3900 kgs. So the main objective of the propulsion module was to take the lander to much closer to the moon once it reaches that orbit of about 100 kilometers from the lunar surface, and then it would separate, which is the stage that we have achieved today. Now the phase is the last two phases begin. Like ISRO had just announced that tomorrow they are going to undertake the deboosting maneuver, when the lander would be taken to a slightly lower orbit, which is about 100 kilometers into 23 kilometers. So once it's injected into that orbit, then the final phase is going to begin, and it will be positioned over the south polar region of the moon, where the landing would be planned, so which is expected on August 23rd evening. So these are challenging maneuvers because of the kind of accuracy that you require to achieve it, a precise landing, a precise point on the orbit from where the landing could start. So all these things would be taken into consideration.
I want to cut across back to Harish as well, who is with us on the broadcast. Harish, for the next few days, that soft landing has been achieved, and 14 p.m. that's when also an important development will happen at around 1600 hours. Going forward, what journey does the project really take, and what are the other critical steps apart from the separation to watch out for?
Well, three aspects here. One, although the propulsion module has separated from the lander module, the propulsion module won't be totally useless. There is one payload on the propulsion module that will continue to operate for the coming few weeks and months. What will happen in the next few days in the run-up to the soft landing on 23rd, there will be a couple of deboost maneuvers. One is planned for around 4 o'clock tomorrow. What does this deboost maneuver do? It takes the lander module much closer to the surface of moon. Apart from that, it will also put this spacecraft in the desired velocity, because remember, that will be a very crucial move. That's where Chandrayaan 2 got it wrong. So these are three crucial maneuvers that would happen in the next few days, and then the big soft landing that ISRO will attempt. Once the soft landing happens, there will be slightly a cooling off period before the rover actually comes out of the lander module and goes about looking at the surface of the moon and the experiments that have been planned on the surface of the moon.
All right, my colleague Harish getting us all the details and perspective, what else to watch out for. As we earlier told you through these very special graphics, once again putting that out for you, within the moon's reach on the parting ways, the lander and the propulsion modules have separated. The modules have also embarked on separate journeys now. Let's put out there some special graphics that we have prepared for you here on CNN News 18. This is reaching the moon. This is also exploring the moon like never before. These are parting ways for the lander and the propulsion modules. Both of them take separate journeys. Separate modules embark on separate journeys from here on. The propulsion module and the lander separate in orbit lander, and it begins its most crucial journey. The touchdown on the moon. Vikram is carrying Pragyan, and it attempts landing. The soft landing will be attempted on the moon's southern side, which has largely remained the unexplored area. It's a complex series of braking maneuvers which the rover named Pragyan need to perform. And as I said earlier, it happens in special challenging situation. Everything needs to be right. The nearby lunar area gathers the images to be sent back to the Earth. Intelligence, information, science, and all of that we are gathering about the southern part of the moon that so far has remained unexplored. Chandrayaan 3 will be a success. That's what the scientist community are claiming, and in most likelihood it will be, fingers crossed. But today was an important day, and that happy separation has happened. We'll continue talking about the story much more here on CNN News 18. For now, a very short break.
आत्मनिर्भर
बहुत दर्द नहीं है और दुख नहीं है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के हम, मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं, और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम, तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे, तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर है।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया, और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं। तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे
Welcome back, and we continue to get you all the voices here on CNN News 18. As I said earlier, Chandrayaan 3 mission and that crucial and critical step that needed to be completed, that separation of the lander and the rover has happened. It has happened with utmost level of meticulous planning that was done, science and innovation that has been carried out by the wonderful scientists at ISRO. We'll try and also get you all the voices on this big story which is emerging right now. And on the right hand side of your screen, you can see that imagery or the graphic that has been put by ISRO. This graphic really tells you about how exactly that particular separation is happening at this point in time and how crucial and critical it is. What makes Chandrayaan 3 so special is the fact that it's going to explore the southern part of the moon. It is called the mysterious, unexplored part of the moon, which has not been known to the mankind or the humankind. We want to gather more intelligence, more information and knowledge about this. Scientists here joining us on CNN News 18 have also told us that what separates the Indian pursuit is the manner in which we have been generous enough in terms of sharing our knowledge. Dr. Ghosh is also with us on the broadcast. Dr. Ghosh, your thoughts on the separation of the lander and the rover, how critical it is, and going forward, what are the other critical steps to watch out for?
I think this was a foregone conclusion, and not that it was in any case easy or uncomplicated, but the fact that the ISRO scientists had already demonstrated this earlier in Chandrayaan 2. So this was something which they knew it would go through smoothly. The thing to watch out are the challenges ahead, but I think the ISRO has taken a lot of steps to have plan B, plan C. The redundancy factor has been inbuilt into the Chandrayaan 3 so that it is a complete success. And what we are going to try and show, what ISRO is going to try and show, is that the soft landing can be done. Last time, as we all know, it was not so much of a success as far as only the landing is concerned. So now we have algorithms, physical, even the legs have been strengthened up to 1 meter per second more. The legs have been strengthened. So even if one of the legs break, I think we will still land properly.
Well, to have a backup or to have a plan just in case something goes down, I believe is one of the assets of the Indian way of working, I'd rather say. But sir, going forward, what are the other key critical steps to watch out for? Are there other impediments that lie in the way, other important or tricky spots that should be taken care of?
One of the trickiest spots is the 15 minutes of terror which come in when one doesn't have complete control. In fact, one doesn't have control, and everything is what has already been fed into the computers. So the computers do what it has been told to do. Now, the other thing is that it should, you see, one of the biggest challenges, and I must share this with you, is getting the spacecraft, when it goes round in orbit, it is horizontal. Now, when you want it to land, it has got to become vertical. So you've got to not only make the spacecraft vertical, but ensure that it deboosts or retrofiring, as they say. Then it comes down slowly, it decreases its speed and velocity, and then comes down. So this is a tricky part.
Yes.
And I'm sure we will overcome this. And we will. And after that, of course, the rover has to come out. And we have not seen that last time. So obviously, because of the incident which happened. So now,
Dr. Ghosh, we had Dr. Sivan, the former ISRO chief, with us on the broadcast some time ago. And when I attempted to ask him in terms of a comparison with the Russians or the Americans or the Chinese, he said, look, our journey has been very different. Our approach has been very different. And perhaps our journey should not be compared to others. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It has been a totally different approach, thinking process. So the easiest thing to compare is, look, the lunar 25 is taking 4 to 5 days to reach the moon. The Artemis will take, it's not yet taken, it will take somewhere similar. Well, we take 40. Now everybody says, hey, why are we taking 40 days when those people are going in such a short time? Because we think differently. We want to reduce the level of fuel. We don't have such high performance rockets with us. So we do with whatever we have. And then, of course, there is that frugality factor. We are very economical. So then, of course, we are very cautious too, which is a very good thing. We test, we retest and retest every single thing. We try and leave nothing to chance. So you see the number of failures which this erstwhile Soviet Union had. Of course, they didn't publicize their failures much, but even in the lunar project and in the zone, and as far as the Apollo, as far as the Americans go, and look at we came onto the scene much later, much later, and the number of failures that we have had, hardly any. So our thinking is different. We have come up to this stage, yes, with a certain amount of help from both the countries. The Soviets have helped us. Now the Russians, the Americans have helped us. They're still helping us. So there is a lot of collaboration. And I think we should be there on the high. We are already there on the high table, and we should be there to land on the South Pole. Nobody's explored the South Pole. So it's something to look forward to. Because you must remember, what is the aim? Ultimately, the aim is to see that if there is water on the moon, can we really have interplanetary launching platform on the moon? That's what all the countries are aiming for. That's what probably we are also.
Behind us right now on the screens, you can see visuals. These are animations that have actually been put forth by ISRO itself. Remember, a few minutes ago, we continue to track the separation of the propulsion module and the lander together. Now, the landing module has been separated, and what that means is that now Chandrayaan 3 is just a few days away from descending onto the surface of the moon. Next week on Wednesday is the date on which Chandrayaan 3 is supposed to descend onto the moon, the lunar surface, the South Pole. As P.K. Ghosh, who's a space strategist who remains with us, is here to tell us more about. Mr. Ghosh, if I could now come to you with a question, I'm seeing a lot of our audience members ask us. They're pointing out that yes, India is going to be the fourth country to do this after the US, China and Russia. But a lot of our audience members are asking, why the moon, why now? When we talk about the United States, we talk about the fact that that's something they achieved in the first half of the last century. Why is the moon still so important, and why is this such a huge achievement for India?
See, there are three things on this. If you remember, even the Apollo program came to a grinding halt. The Americans were not interested. Somehow or the other, even the Soviets and then the Russians, they were not very keen. The Chinese took it up in some way, and they are coming up fast, of course. The reason for this is, why now? Why all this sudden talk of going to the Mars, going to the moon, and this sudden thrust in space? There are many reasons for this. One is, of course, we have discovered that the moon is rich in minerals. Of course, nobody can own any part of plots in the moon, though I understand there are companies which are trying to sell them off, but it is not possible, because there's a convention which is clearly stated that you can't own part of the moon. It is for all mankind. Now, that is one part of it. And the other is, we can use moon as a launching platform for our interplanetary journeys and interplanetary travel. Apart from that, there is an increasing interest in space tourism. Most of the private companies, big ones I'm talking of, in America, are trying to have this, space tourism. So I would say, all these factors have come together, and that is why the interest has sort of come again. And most of the countries, and even some of the smaller ones, and some of the bigger ones, you see, even like, for example, Japan, Israel, the Israelis sent their sheep. Unfortunately, it was not a very big success, but they are sending it again. The Japanese, I do not know if you are aware, but Chandrayaan 4, we are planning to have it in collaboration with the Japanese, JAXA. So there is a general feeling that, look, we must collaborate together for the benefit of technology and mankind and take this entire project forward. So that is why when everything comes together, things click, and that is what is happening now.
Okay.
I must also, sorry.
No, Mr. Ghosh, I'm going to actually come back to you. I want to ask you more about what now happens to the lander module and the propulsion module. We'll come back to you to ask you more questions in just a second. Let me very quickly, though, take our audiences through where we are right now when it comes to the lander and the propulsion modules. Now, again and again, we're telling you that the big development that's taken place when it comes to the Chandrayaan 3 story, remember, this is a story that began in July, and it's a story that today we're seeing a very important pathway stop to, with the lander and the propulsion model now separating. What that means now is that both of these modules are going to embark on very different journeys. The propulsion module is, as we said, the propulsion module is going to stay in an orbit, and it's going to continue collecting data. It's actually got instruments on board, a singular instrument. It's going to continue collecting data. And the lander, which is separated from it, is now beginning what is considered the very crucial part of the journey, which is the descent process. Now, there are two more maneuverings that are going to take place when it comes to the orbit before it actually begins that final descent process onto the surface of the moon. It's going to attempt a soft landing on the moon's south side after doing a series of very complex braking maneuvers. After that, the rover, and it's tricky sometimes to remember these parts. So the rover will be separating from the lander module. The rover's name is Pragyan. You'll hear us refer to Pragyan and Vikram. Pragyan is the name of the rover itself. It'll roll off the lander. The lander is called Vikram. And the Pragyan rover will then explore all of the nearby lunar area. It's landing on a much larger demarcated area than Chandrayaan 2 did. Remember, it's this crucial descension phase where Chandrayaan 2 earlier failed. It's that is going to be of crucial interest to all of us next week when that descent actually takes place. Now, what is the Pragyan rover going to do? The main goal is it's going to be gathering images to send back to Earth. It's also going to be testing substances from the lunar surface. We'll look to understand more about that in just a second. Right now, let's walk you through different reactions coming in from eminent scientists. Take a look.
The space aircraft. How important is this, and can you give some detail related to this?
Yeah, it is really a vital element, because now you look at your Chandrayaan 3 mission, basically consists of 3 plus 1 4 modules type of thing. First is LEM-3, which has taken the composite of Vikram lander, propulsion module, and the Pragyan, the rover, to the 36,000 kilometer highly elliptical orbit. From there, using 5 earthbound maneuvers, propulsion module has taken the composite of Vikram lander and the Pragyan to the lunar orbit. Again, the lunar orbit also, from the elliptical orbit, it has now brought to the near circular, close to the moon, around 153 kilometer orbit. It has brought 153 by 163 kilometer. So now The important thing is, final thing is softly and securely landing on the moon. For that, lander has to separate from the propulsion module. So as of now, all the modules of propulsion system has made its functionalities, and it has done its job. Now Vikram has to take its own course of action. Further, it has to separate. So even after separating, then the major event comes. A major event is four 800 Newton thrusters. They have to fire to take it to the lower orbit. That also will be done in 2 steps, and ensuring that all the 3 systems are working properly. These 2 steps, it will go down, put 100 kilometer orbit, then from 100 go to the 30 kilometer orbit. 100 by 30 kilometer orbit. That's a very, very vital. But when it's going very closer to the Earth, so the position of the module has to be ascertained properly. So then from the 30 kilometer onwards, how to move, how to thruster to fire.
Okay, let's go back to my colleague Shrishti, who's also bringing us updates and information about the movement of Chandrayaan 3. Shrishti, can you tell our audiences why it is so important that the Vikram lander land on the surface of the moon? Tell us what experiments the Vikram lander is hoping to carry out. We know there are 3 scientific payloads on board. What are the different sets of experiments ISRO is hoping it will be able to conduct?
So, apart from the successful demonstration of the technology to softly land on the lunar surface, there are a lot of scientific experiments which have been planned. Like the key mission again is to find more evidence of water molecules trapped in this permanently shadowed region of the lunar surface, which will build on the previous findings of Chandrayaan 1 as well. What is a critical resource? But apart from that, the mission will look to understand what is the composition of the lunar soil. So it's not really basically called soil; it's called the regolith. So scientists are very keen to understand what is the composition of this soil, because there are a lot of critical elements which are trapped in this, which can pave way for maybe mining in future as resources. Apart from that, the rover which is going to roll out of the lander will also insert a probe into this regolith to understand the seismicity, to understand the properties of this regolith, and it will also use spectrometry. It will also use lasers to conduct all these experiments. So understand that moon is a bigger mystery. Even though it's the closest to the Earth, there is a lot of questions that that the scientists are still intrigued by. Also, it's important to understand that moon has a very weak atmosphere. So all the things that are on the moon have relatively remained unchanged over hundreds of years. So it has a lot of questions. There are a lot of mysteries trapped in it, which can pave way for more for understanding as to how the entire space has developed, and help us unlock a lot of mysteries. So apart from the scientific discoveries and the technological demonstration, the moon is a very critical component for any nation looking to advance its scientific achievements in space.
Shrishti, if I can ask you to stay with us, let's go back to P.K. Ghosh. He's a space strategist who remains with us. Mr. Ghosh, while you were bringing our audience an answer a little while earlier, you touched on the importance and the mystery that surrounds the lunar South Pole. Can you just, in very rudimentary terms, explain to our audiences why the lunar South Pole is so important, why it's so special, and if you could also tell us what Chandrayaan 1 also had to do with the discovery and the exploration of the lunar South Pole so far?
Okay. Firstly, most of the landings earlier that have taken place on the moon were on a band up and down the lunar equator, because it was easier to land over there, and that is why most of the spacecrafts landed there. Nobody gave much importance to South Pole. When it was discovered, you see what happens is, on the surface of the moon, the shadow areas have got a very cold temperature, and the ones which come under the sun are very hot. And of course, in the night, the temperatures are much, much lesser, and in the daytime much higher. So we thought, Chandrayaan, what did it do? Chandrayaan 1. It said that, look, there is water molecules present in and around this area. Now, everybody was surprised. What has happened is, and what we presume is, that in the areas, certain areas, there are big craters in the South Pole, like the Atkins crater, huge crater. Now, there are areas which are perpetually in the shadows, where the temperature is exceedingly low. So what may have happened is that the water molecules would have turned to ice, and that ice is present in some form in these areas which are always in the dark and hence in low temperature. So what we are trying to find is, or other most countries now, including the Russians and the Chinese, are trying to say is, like, look, let us land in the South Pole and see if there is water on the surface of the moon. So, of course, I must also say, I don't think when they say that there is water, I'm not too sure whether you'll find a frozen sea or not, or huge ice platforms or not. I don't know. That's for our rover to find out. But there will be probably pockets where there will be ice. And this is my hypothesis. It awaits, of course, confirmation by Chandrayaan 3 and the other spacecrafts.
Okay, Mr. Ghosh, stay with us because I want to ask you so much more about that. Let me just go back to our colleague Shrishti, who's with us right now. Shrishti, we've talked right now about why the lunar South Pole is so exciting. Can you now walk our audiences through Chandrayaan 2? Because much has been said while we're talking about Chandrayaan 3, much has been said about Chandrayaan 2 and what went wrong in 2019. I know that the ISRO chief gave 3 primary reasons. Can you just tell our audiences what those 3 reasons were? And then can you also tell us how ISRO aimed to attack each of those reasons this time with Chandrayaan 3?
Right. So even though we could not attempt a successful soft landing through Chandrayaan 2, a Chandrayaan 2 mission was proved to be very beneficial for planning the third mission. Why? Because right as the ISRO chairman had earlier pointed out, that the orbiter, which was part of Chandrayaan 2, had captured a lot of images. It kept on observing the lunar surface, which helped us to narrow down a site near the south pole of the moon for the landing of Chandrayaan 3. So the images proved to be very helpful. The orbiter continues to circle around the moon and collect a lot of data, which the scientists are still mining out, and they are helping the third stage of the mission, which is currently on. What went wrong? There were, like Mr. Ghosh was earlier pointing out, the 15 minutes of terror. So the entire mission had gone completely as planned. It's just the last 15 minutes when things went awry. If you remember, when the final descent phase began, the lander, which was supposed to go down with a certain velocity, there was a higher thrust to it, and the lander began rotating at a very high speed. ISRO chairman had earlier told News 18 that the landing site, the lander basically fell short by half a kilometer when it was supposed to land, and in order to cover that distance, the velocity suddenly increased. So all those things are ISRO has tried to correct all those situations in this time, and ISRO chairman had earlier told us that this time the scientists have prepared a failure-based design. They looked at all the kind of situations that can go wrong and then try to correct it by adding more sensors to it, by adding more hazard detection system to it, increasing the area of the landing site, then adding more solar panels to it, so in case it has to travel. And they have also chosen an alternate landing site as well in case something like that happens. So all the emergency situations have been considered, weighed against, and then the final mission has been planned. So this explains why ISRO is very confident of achieving this crucial milestone with this mission. So let's hope that ISRO succeeds this time.
Okay, Shrishti, PK Ghosh sir, if I could just keep both of you waiting for a second, let me walk our audiences through more reactions. Then we'll return to both of these experts.
It's a big day. That successful separation has already happened. Your first thoughts on this successful completion of this important step?
This is actually a very complex activity, and we are happy that it is happened smoothly without any hitch.
Right,
and
sir.
This is another major milestone, I would say. This one. Okay.
Sir, my last question to you about how Chandrayaan 2, from Chandrayaan completion of this mission, how confident you are, sir?
Basically, this we have gone through the data of Chandrayaan 2 and find out that the error, what really happened. Then that errors have been corrected. That's number one. Number two, this particular mission we added more margin, design margin. Number three, wherever the redundancy is increased, this one. That way, now the confidence level for this mission is more. So we are expecting that this will happen very nicely without any problem.
Successful separation, just a step away from a successful soft landing.
Look, I think the journey that Chandrayaan as a program and Chandrayaan 3 in particular has been extremely one that makes every Indian proud. We have certainly demonstrated to the world, ISRO has, and the whole ecosystem around ISRO in design, manufacturing, that we are amongst the leading nations in the world in terms of this type of capability. And I'm very pleased today that Chandrayaan 3 has completed the separation phase successfully, and I hope that we will soon be browsing the surface of the moon.
So this adds to the soft power of the country?
No, it adds to the deep technology capabilities, it adds to the confidence of our nation, and it certainly positions India and the young Indians that to be a central player in the decade of technology opportunities that are coming in front of us. The decade, as the Honorable Prime Minister has branded it, that in that decade, space and space-linked technologies are going to be a very important part of the technology ecosystem, and that the Indian ecosystem in space and allied technologies will play a defining role there.
All right, I'd like to thank both Mr. PK Ghosh and my colleague Shrishti for joining us here on the show. The exciting journey of Chandrayaan 3 is one we're going to continue to track till it lands on the lunar surface, the South Pole, remember, of the moon, where sunlight in many places has not even touched the surface in billions of years. It's all very exciting. We'll continue to track it right here on CNN News 18. Right now, it's time for a very short break. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
पत्थर इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए, और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन लोगों ने सब ने मिल के बाहर निकाला, वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं, तो उनको सरका घाट बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया। फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया। तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है, और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं, और हमारी मांग है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो, और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे। होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we're understanding a key highway is also completely closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll. Roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now completely shut or blocked?
Well, Ridhima, the situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular, I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Sugain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see. So this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that, this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's a lucky, it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes, in fact, which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here, how you can see how trees being uprooted. In fact, before this cloud burst happened, what we are given to understand, this was a normal road where the people used to commute, but now you can see this place has entirely changed into a ghost valley over here. In fact, these stones, they were not here. These stones actually rolled down from the top, and in fact the silver lining in this entire case is that no one was injured, gravely injured, and no casualty was reported from this very spot. Something to worry is that the water is still coming from the upper zones, which actually creates a lot of problem for these people, because with water the stones also come down to this very place, and in fact there is a current in the water, there is a heavy pressure in the water, and that is why this entire situation is very sensitive. In fact, I have the person whose home has been affected by this. Sir, मैं एक चीज समझना चाहूँगा आपसे.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18. We're now taking you to a story that's playing out in South India along the Kaveri River, a river that flows through 4 different regions: Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and of course Puducherry. We're seeing the return of a protest that seems to be periodic, almost every monsoon. That same protest is taking place right now in Karnataka. This is after the state government in Karnataka released Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu. Farmers in the Mandya region in Karnataka are condemning the decision of the Karnataka government. They're demanding that the Karnataka government immediately stop the release of water. They've cautioned that they're going to intensify their agitation, because remember, these are regions that have not received the amount of rainfall. In fact, some data suggests regions have received 44% less than they typically receive this year. At the same time, remember, the Supreme Court has opined on this issue multiple times. They have instructed Karnataka to give a certain amount of water to Tamil Nadu every month. Now, BJP and the JDS in Karnataka are using this issue to corner the Congress government that is in power in Karnataka. They're saying that it should stop the release of water in the interest of farmers, because farmers in Karnataka are saying fulfill our demands first and our needs first before fulfilling the needs of another state, especially at a time when there is less rainfall. Now, the Tamil Nadu government has already filed a petition once again before the apex court. The Chief Minister had penned a letter to the Prime Minister in which he'd asked for his immediate intervention into this entire issue. We'll walk you through different reactions. Then we've got some breaking news in this same story.
Very stinging criticism of the Congress government in Karnataka that you have made through that tweet of yours. Just, underline the aspect where you say that this is Congress's double speak when it is about the Kaveri water dispute.
Yes, that's right. Because, madam, from last 1 week I am watching seriously the government attitude about the Kaveri issue. Present our irrigation minister, when our farmers protesting to release water to save our crops in our area in Mandya district, this minister advising the farmers community go before the court. He is advising to the farming community of Karnataka. Go before the court and you please request Supreme Court to give direction to release the water to our farmers. This is the advice given by this irrigation minister. Without any protest or without protection the interest of our farmers in our state, before going to Supreme Court, because our counterpart Tamil Nadu, they went to Supreme Court to give direction to Karnataka government to release water.
Yes.
But for that, actually, what problem we are facing here in Karnataka, what our farmers' problem, we have to go approach the Supreme Court and we have to explain what are the proper present situation regarding water storage here. These things they have not protested in front of the Supreme Court.
All right, developments in the same story. A former Deputy Chief Minister, Chandrayaan, has hit out at the Karnataka Congress government's decision to release the Kaveri water. He said that Karnataka releasing that water, it's releasing it to protect the INDIA alliance partners. That's obviously a pointed comment because remember, Karnataka has released that water to Tamil Nadu, and in Tamil Nadu you have MK Stalin, the DMK, which is of course MK Stalin's party, is an INDIA alliance partner to the Congress. Take a look quickly at reactions, then we'll connect with a reporter for more context.
The Congress government in the state of Karnataka have let down the people of Karnataka, the Kaveri Basin people, by releasing 10 TMC water. Instead of leaving the water for the irrigation in the Kaveri Basin in the state of Karnataka, whatever the conserved or the stored water in the KRS and all other remaining dams have been released to Tamil Nadu, more than what they are eligible on this condition, on the present condition when there is not much of rain. So they have done all these things to help their India alliance partner, to keep them in good books by letting down the people of Karnataka.
All right, my colleague Harish Upadhyay was able to speak to the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, leader of the BJP, Basavaraj Bommai. Take a look.
Joining us right now, former Chief Minister Mr. Basavaraj Bommai. Sir, the government 4-5 days back said there's no question of releasing water to the Tamil Nadu. Today you have water being released. The Deputy Chief Minister says that they're compelled to do it. He's saying the farmers should go to the Supreme Court. As a former Water Resources Minister, how do you see this, sir?
This is unprecedented and uncalled for. I don't know what is the briefing to the Deputy CM and Water Resource Minister Shivkumar. See, basically, they should have put up our case very strongly in CWMA, where Water Management Authority will look into the releases of water. Tamil Nadu is supposed to use 32 TMC of water. They use 60 TMC for Kurvai crop. They are supposed to irrigate 1.8 lakh hectare. They have irrigated more than 4 lakh hectare. And it is there to see. And now, they got set their eye on Karnataka water, and Karnataka government, neither they protested in CWMA nor they released water to the farmers in the right time. They delayed it. Now what is the storage? It was for the Karnataka farmers. Tamil Nadu is taking its claim, and government of Karnataka meekly is releasing water. They should have put forth their case in CWMA. Now in Supreme Court, they have to fight it. Instead of fighting the case for the state, they are meekly bulking under the pressure of Tamil Nadu, which is a INDA partner, and to satisfy them, they are releasing water for last 3 days. This is a great dhoka done to Kaveri farmers who are agitating now, and drinking water issue right from Bangalore to other towns in Kaveri Basin will be jeopardized. Therefore, the state interest is not at all in the mind of this government, and they are busy in transferring and making money. The state interest is totally neglected by this government, and it is unfit to rule Karnataka.
Sir, we've seen every time there has been a Kaveri dispute, the government of the day stands by the farmers. Now you have the government asking the farmers to go to the court. Yeah. You, on the other hand, have Mr. Shivkumar saying that Mr. Bommai shouldn't politicize the issue.
See, I never politicized. That's why I just wrote a letter giving the factual status and what to be done. This is not politics. And if this is a politics which take care of the interest of the state, then we are here to take care of the interest of the state. On the other hand, to please their partner in Tamil Nadu, DMK, these people have released water. That is politics. The release of water in spite of no orders from the court, that is politics. And asking farmers to go to the Supreme Court, they never heard of. He is absolving himself from the responsibility, and people have voted them to take care of interest of the state, interstate disputes. He is totally putting farmers in distress and asking them to go to the court, uncalled for and unheard of. And that's why farmers are agitating. They are saying that we have elected you for doing this business. If you are not able to do it, you go away. We will do it. Therefore, this farmers has let down the farmers of Kaveri and people of Kaveri belt, including Bangalore.
How does the BJP now go ahead with this, sir?
See, we are with the farmers always, and we are with their agitation, and we will all do everything, and we are ready to cooperate with the government also. We are ready to cooperate with the government of Karnataka, and we will help and aid them in their legal fight, but they have to stand strongly, and we are with them.
So slightly moving away from this, my final question is on NEP. You have over the last few days, ever since the statement by the Chief Minister, most of the ministers coming out justifying the statement of the Chief Minister saying, yes, we need to remove NEP, have a separate education policy.
I just first say that let them go through NEP first. None of the ministers have gone through. They are making political statement. According to me, changing of NEP is a much more serious matter than winning a brownie political point. It is the future of the people, of the children of the state. See, NEP we have introduced in higher education. Already 2 years is over, and 4-year course is going to be completed. And lot of welcome has come. And in fact, the same Siddaramaiah government in 2016-17 has approved the draft of NEP. Mr. Kasturi Rangan, who was a Knowledge Commission chairman, he is the chairman for NEP. Yes. And our own Karnataka man has drafted it, and is eminent, and he is one of the scholars, and it is very forward-looking and futuristic. It prepares our students, all-round preparation, personality development, education to the highest standards, multi-opportunities, and preparing them for high-level competition, and employed guaranteed education system is there. So we want to add more skilled people in the employment. When Congress was there, out of 42 crores of employment, 31 crores were unskilled. So 2/3 were unskilled. Now after Modi coming, the whole equation has changed. 50% is skilled. So we want to increase the skilled people in the employment. That is the aim. Then the economy will also grow, the country will grow, education will improve, children's future will improve. But for the petty politics reasons, just because they have put it in manifesto, and they very well know that it's a concurrent subject constitutionally, they can't unilaterally do it. Just to raise hue and cry against the center, they are trying to do it. But however, I'm sure the parents, the children, the academia will fight it out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for speaking to us.
Okay, we have with us a quick summary of the key points when it comes to what the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Basavaraj Bommai, had to say. I'll walk you through them, then we'll connect with a reporter to understand how fact-based each of these points are. So essentially, the Karnataka BJP former Chief Minister of the state is saying that the Congress is only giving this water to Tamil Nadu. The Karnataka Congress is only giving this water to Tamil Nadu because they're trying to safeguard the INDIA alliance. Now, what they've also said is that Tamil Nadu, instead of using 32,000 million cubics of water, is using 60. Now, more than 12 lakh hectares have been cultivated for the Kurvai crop. This is all according to the BJP leader. He's saying the government, the Karnataka government, should have put up a stronger case. He's also saying never before has any government told farmers to go to the court. Again, he's referring to the Karnataka Congress, and he's also referring to the farmers on the ground right now who are protesting. He's also saying that the Water Resources Minister can't absolve himself. Remember, the Water Resources Minister of Karnataka is D.K. Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Karnataka, senior Congress leader. Now, my colleague Ritu is with us to bring us facts here. Let's go over to her to understand more. Ritu, first off, obviously this is a very complicated story, one on which the Supreme Court has opined multiple times. So I'm going to actually ask you to summarize for our audiences, because when we spoke to the BJP former Chief Minister of the state of Karnataka, he said that the Karnataka Congress is meekly, these were his words, he said they're meekly doing what the Tamil Nadu government is asking them to do. But Ritu, factually speaking, is that accurate? Are they doing what the Tamil Nadu government wants them to do, or what the Supreme Court wants them to do?
See, now the Tamil Nadu government, in fact, has knocked the doors of the Supreme Court, saying that the Karnataka government should release 24,000 cubics of water, which is as per the guidelines and what has been decided earlier by the tribunal body as well. So, going by that, the government should release so much of water is what the Tamil Nadu government is demanding. Now, in fact, here in the Karnataka, the issue has arisen because there is a drought-like situation across the Karnataka. The farmers are suffering. In fact, the urban population is also suffering because there is a lack of drinking water facility as well, because it's the Kaveri which majorly supplies the drinking water as well in the urban area. So while the people are in such a trouble, why is that the Congress government has gone ahead to supply that water as well? So that's point number one. And point number two is that, you see, what importantly takes place over here is that the kind of the land that has been actually cultivated in the Tamil Nadu side and as well as near to the KRS dam as well in the Karnataka. So where there are majorly, they are all farmers, and also there's no water supply to them as well. Earlier, you see, the farmers were again up in arms saying that the Congress government should actually release water from the KRS dam to their land so that they can cultivate the paddy crops there and
but
can
Ritu,
actually
can you just explain to our audiences what was the distress sharing formula? Essentially, what did the two states agree would happen in a drought-like situation? Was there any agreement there?
See, if we go by what the tribunal body in fact has decided, then of course there again there was a formula that was set up by both amicably between both Karnataka as well as the Tamil Nadu, saying that so much of water needs to be released when there is a rainfall, and when during the summer so much, and again, specific TMC of water should be released. But here now the situation has arisen because there is a drought-like situation across the Karnataka. So that's the reason why the Karnataka farmers as well as the opposition BJP and JDS is saying that while there is so bad situation here in the state, why is it the Congress government has gone ahead to supply the Kaveri water to the Tamil Nadu and not looking up to the farmers as well? Though the farmers from in a couple of months, they are protesting, saying that they themselves actually need a water supply for their the paddy crops as well. So with all that happening as well, why the government is going ahead with this step is what their point is. And on the other hand, they know what the opposition is saying, that there's a huge politics that is being played in this Kaveri as row as well, because one, of course, we did see the Tamil Nadu also taking part in the meeting opposition
opposition meeting that took place in the Bengaluru and the kind of bond that these leaders in fact shared as well. So that's the reason why the BJP is saying that what really matters for the Congress here in the state is their Indian alliance and not the farmers and the
Right.
people of the state at all.
Okay,
So that's the
Ritu,
important
thank
point.
you for illustrating both sides for us. We're going to return to this story as protests seem to be growing on the ground. It's time right now for a short break. On the other side, more of the country's top stories. This is the Breaking News Show on CNN News 18.
चीज समझना चाहूंगा मैं आपसे। पहले तो ये बताइए कब ये घटना हुई एग्जैक्टली और क्या कुछ हुआ और आप कहाँ थे उस समय पे?
एक्चुअली ऐसा है कि 13 अगस्त की सुबह लगभग 6:30 बजे के करीब जब हम उठे और लोगों ने आवाज़ें लगाना शुरू की कि क्लाउड ब्रस्ट हो गया है और जो मिट्टी की एक स्मेल जैसी होती है वो हम सब ने उसको महसूस किया और तभी हम सभी लोग घर से वहाँ से भागे और जो एडजॉइनिंग हमारे पास वहाँ पर घर थे उसकी स्लैब के ऊपर खड़े होकर के देखने लगे कि क्या हुआ। जितना भी ये डैमेज हुआ है इसका मंजर हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा हुआ है और ये सारा का सारा जो हमारा घर जो ब्रस्ट हुआ है वो जो त्रासदी है इसको हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा है और ये बहुत ही दुखद है कि प्रशासन के लोग जो थे वो स्टेट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वाले लोग भी यहाँ अब तक जब तक आप रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं तब तक यहाँ कोई नहीं आया हुआ है और हमारा सरकार से निवेदन रहेगा कि इस पूरी के पूरी जोन में क्योंकि हर जगह दरारें आ गई हैं और सरकार से मेरा निवेदन रहेगा कि इसका जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे करवाया जाए ताकि लोगों में जो दहशत है वो ख़त्म हो सके और लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ पर रह सकें। अगर ये बर्थ प्लेस जो है वो रहने लायक नहीं बचा है तो सरकार इसका सर्वे करवा करके हमें उचित मुआवजा दे लोगों को ताकि इनका वो पुनर्वास कर सके।
मैम मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ बहुत ही कठिन समय है आप लोगों के लिए। मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफेक्टेड है आपका। आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग। बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है। तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा, तो मैं 3 जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ। जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है, ये गांव पूरा मेरा। दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बना है वो भी सारी सिरखट जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है। तीसरी जगह जहाँ हम बेटी की शादी की है वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं, वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के हम, मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ था प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे, तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर है।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं। तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे पानी की आवाज़ आई और पत्थर, इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए। और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन
As Nationalist Congress Party Chief Sharad Pawar is going to be attending a public meeting in Maharashtra's Bid today. But why are all eyes on this meeting in Bid? Remember, the NCP has recently seen some tectonic shifts with Ajit Pawar, Sharad Pawar's nephew, leaving the NCP's stronghold camp and joining hands with part of the NCP and their leaders and becoming Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Since then, many questions have arisen on where Sharad Pawar's fortunes could lie and whether or not he too could shift his tides and his loyalty and join hands with the BJP. Multiple questions have been asked by the alliance partners too. The alliance partners, remember, in the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi are the Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena and, of course, the Congress party. Now, all eyes are as we speak in Bid, where banners have actually been put up by the Ajit Pawar camp, where Ajit can actually be seen asking his uncle, the senior Pawar, for his blessings. Despite several clarifications, 4 so far having come forward from Sharad Pawar, where he said that I was only meeting my nephew for personal reasons, his alliance partners seemingly continue to remain worried and nervous. Now, we'll continue to bring you reactions from this story through the day. First, however, my colleague Shivani Gupta spoke to Prithviraj Chavan, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Take a look. Mr. Chavan, as far as the uneasiness between the MVA alliance is concerned, now recently the Congress seemed to stake claim on the Mada Lok Sabha seat. Now this is a seat that even Sharad Pawar has fought elections from and actually won the first time when elections were held on this seat after the demarcation. Don't you think that this is also leading to some sense of nervousness between parties like yourself, the Congress and the NCP, the infighting over the seats?
No, I think some of the media reports, and I mean, you can't take whatever happens seriously. See, we are trying to assess our strength in each one of the 48 Lok Sabha constituencies. Whether we fought them, we won or lost, we are assessing our strength. We are assessing what is the impact of the split in NCP, what is the impact of split in the Shiv Sena. So that exercise we are doing. Now, when we meet Karyakartas, every one of the 48 people will naturally say that we want to contest the seat. But there is no official statement from any senior responsible official of the NPCC. What has happened is Karyakartas in Kolhapur, Karyakartas in Hatkalangde, Karyakartas in Mada, Karyakartas in Satara, wherever I have gone, those people obviously say, look, let us fight it. The Karyakartas want to fight the elections. But that doesn't mean that the seat sharing talks are not even begun yet. The seat sharing talks will begin soon when the leaders decide, apparently after the NDA meeting in Mumbai on 1st September. But please don't go by whatever anybody says. And almost every 48, each one of the 48 Lok Sabha constituencies, Congress people have said that we want to fight the election. But that is not the official position. The official position is we will fight the 24 Lok Sabha election in a alliance of the MVA within the broad framework of India Alliance.
I understand that, but speaking of the India Alliance itself, don't you think what's happening in Maharashtra, your state, Delhi, Punjab, West Bengal, there are huge question marks on how this alliance is going to function. There are like such open conflicts over seat sharings and who will fight how much.
Well, I think this is something on this large scale has never been attempted before. I mean, Mr. Modi is talking about 38 different political parties. We had 26 odd political parties and we expect to get more. This is unprecedented, a huge, big alliance. And so what is really we're coming towards two ideologies, a left of center ideology of development, inclusive development, belief in the constitution, a liberal democracy, and the idea represented by Mr. Modi, which is anything but all this. He is moving towards one-party dictatorship. Leaders have already said that we do not want smaller parties. Mr. Amit Shah is on record saying he wants a Congress Mukt Bharat. So I think these are the two different ideologies and we'll fight together. Nobody has said it will be very easy. The seat sharing negotiations will be difficult. There are many states where we are fighting with the local units who are in the India Alliance. So I think that will take some doing, but we have some time. But I think we are all committed that unless we defeat Mr. Modi and his BJP in 24 Lok Sabha election, there will be no further liberal democracy in India as we've seen for the last 75 years.
All right, we'll wait and see how that pans out. Certainly issues within the India Alliance. Prithviraj Chavan, thanks a lot for speaking to us. All right, all eyes are going to continue to remain in Bid, where the spotlight, the big question is still whether or not NCP Supremo will once again address his meetings with his nephew Ajit Pawar and the tensions that seemingly exist within the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi. Now that's all that we have for you here on the 2 p.m. show. Thank you for staying with us over this last 1 hour here at CNN News 18.
के बाहर निकाला वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं, तो उनको सरका घाट वो बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया, फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया, तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है। और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं और हमारी मांग है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो, और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे, होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we're understanding a key highway is also completely closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll, roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now completely shut or blocked?
Well, Ridhima, the situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular, I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Sugain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see. So this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that, this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's a lucky, it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here, how you can see how trees being uprooted. In fact, before this cloud burst happened, what we are given to understand, this was a normal road where the people used to commute, but now you can see this place has entirely changed into a ghost valley over here. In fact, these stones, they were not here. These stones actually rolled down from the top, and in fact the silver lining in this entire case is that no one was injured, gravely injured, and no casualty was reported from this very spot. Something to worry is that the water is still coming from the upper zones, which actually creates a lot of problem for these people, because with water the stones also come down to this very place.
Good afternoon. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar. We'll be getting you all the top stories over the next 60 minutes. There's lots to cover. We're beginning this broadcast with some breaking developments coming in. And this is news now coming in from the Jadavpur University, where stir still continues in the backdrop of that very unfortunate death of a 17-year-old student. We in fact are now getting some fresh visuals coming in, and these are visuals of the Dean of the Jadavpur University who can be seen leaving for the Kolkata Police headquarters. Our viewers would remember he had been summoned by the Kolkata Police in the student suicide case. Meanwhile, protests still continue. Students and locals carried out protests, raising slogans demanding justice for the deceased student. Trinamool Student Congress also staged dharna outside the Jadavpur University. There was a delegation of the TMC that met the family of the deceased student yesterday as well. But politics has also erupted between the BJP and the TMC. West Bengal Leader of Opposition Shubhendu Adhikari had demanded CBI and NIA probe into this death of a student of Jadavpur University. BJP Yuva Morcha will also be sitting on dharna outside the society. So multiple developments happening as far as the very unfortunate death of a 17-year-old student who had taken admission in Jadavpur University. Let's bring in our colleague Kamalika Sen-Gupta, who's been tracking all these developments for us. Kamalika, before we talk to you about the multiple protests that are happening and the political war of words as well, first help us understand what's happening as far as the Dean is concerned. We believe he's already on his way to the Kolkata Police headquarters.
Yeah, definitely. The Dean of Students of Jadavpur University, Rajat Rai, he is on his way to Lal Bazaar for questioning because his role is also under scanner. Number one is what were they doing with the anti-ragging committee? That's a question. Number two, he was the person who got the call at around 10:10 at night that something is wrong in Jadavpur University hostel, and what did he do thereafter? That's a big question. So there are a lot of other things that why this ex-students, they got an opportunity to stay in this hostel. That is also a question. So all these things will be asked to him. But he was summoned yesterday also. But he did not turn up because he stated that he was here out. Today he is on his way, and what we are coming to know that he will be questioned.
Yeah, Kamalika, as you're rightly pointing out, it's the inaction of the university and the dean himself which is now under the scanner. I also want to talk about what's the mood on the ground. We've been seeing protests that have broken out by various student organizations. What's happening outside or on the campus as of now? Kamalika, can you hear me?
If you can repeat your question.
Sure. Kamalika, I was essentially asking, I want to understand what's the mood on the ground. Over the last couple of days, we've seen multiple protests that have been carried out by representatives of student organizations. What's happening on campus outside the university?
Yeah, it's an unrest everywhere in and outside Jadavpur University campus. The TMCC, they are doing a dharna outside the campus. The BJP Yuva Morcha, they are doing a dharna outside the campus. The SFI, the Student Federation of India, they are doing rallies inside the campus. The ultra-left organizations, they are doing programs and they are doing rallies. So it's a total unrest. Students are on roads regarding this issue, and students of almost all the organizations are there on road.
I also want to now talk to you as far as the political aspect of this unfortunate death is concerned. There is a face-off that has erupted between the BJP and the TMC. The BJP demanding an NIA probe as well. What is the kind of counter that's coming in from the TMC as of now? Kamalika, can you hear me?
Yeah. The counter that is coming on that BJP has nothing to do with all these things. That's what the TMC is saying. They are doing politicizing the entire thing. That's what the TMC's version is.
But yesterday when I was speaking to some representatives of the BJP, they were saying the TMC today cannot turn a blind eye, saying we had no idea what was happening on campus. You brought us case studies of students who have said that we took admission in Jadavpur University. Within a matter of 2 days, we had to leave the hostel because the pattern of bullying and torture was so bad. So can the TMC today say that they had no idea what was happening on campus?
No, definitely they can't say that, but definitely they are saying that Jadavpur University is an autonomous institution, autonomous university. That's what their logic is. But definitely it is not only that the TMC government, the authorities inside Jadavpur University and a lot of other people are well aware of what used to happen inside Jadavpur University. The fact that this 17 years old boy died has really shaken everybody. That is true, but this type of incident is not new. That was known to everybody. And why steps were not taken? That's a big question. The question has to be answered by the authorities in power, because they have actually not given any answer to why anti-ragging committee was not active, why there was no, the students were there in this hostel, and why did authorities not take any step and they were sleeping?
Okay, Kamalka, we'll just request you to stay on with us. We're getting some other breaking developments also now coming in. We are now understanding the UGC has also written a second letter. This is a second letter that has been written to the Jadavpur University, since the first response they feel was generic without any specific details mentioning what are the kind of preventive measures that have been taken to ensure these episodes or incidents of ragging can be contained. So that's the big update that's coming in the backdrop of this very unfortunate death of a 17-year-old student who had taken admission in the Jadavpur University. The UGC has also now written a letter, and why this is crucial is because this is a second letter that has been written to the university, because the UGC feels the response that came in the first letter was far too generic. Let's also now bring in our colleague Sharon Elizabeth, who in fact is getting us these details. Sharon, two things that I want to understand from you. One, what was the response to the first letter that came from the Jadavpur University? And secondly, what does the second letter that has now been written by the UGC say?
Well, the UGC has made it very clear. The chairperson, Jagdish Kumar Mamidala, while speaking to CNN News 18, has clearly said that they were not really satisfied with the first response that was sought by UGC as far as this incident is concerned. Now, they have in fact has written a second letter to Jadavpur University, since the first response was very generic in nature. There were no details on what were the measures that were taken in place. If specifically to quote Mr. Jagdish Kumar Mamidala, he says that the generic response was something that was not satisfactory. There was no specific date on what the preventive measures have been taken to eliminate the incidents of ragging. And we have asked the Jadavpur University to inform us if the provisions of UGC regulation on curbing the menace of ragging in the higher education institutions are implemented or not. Now, the response of the second letter that has been written by UGC, there has been no response that has been received. The UGC says that they are awaiting a response. If this again is going to be a generic response, then the sources have been suggesting a team from the UGC will be themselves visiting the Jadavpur University. But for that, of course, we have to wait for a response from Jadavpur University, the second letter that has been written by UGC at this point.
So this is crucial what Sharon is pointing out. She's telling us two things. One, that a second letter has now been written by the UGC to Jadavpur University because they felt the response that came the first time around was far too generic. But there were no clear measures that were mentioned to try and contain these episodes of ragging. And the second crucial bit that Sharon is also bringing to us, that even as they await the response of the second letter, even if that is also generic, then it's a possibility that a team of the UGC could visit the campus of Jadavpur University as well. But Sharon, I just want to go back to the first letter. When sources within the UGC and even people working with the UGC tell you that the response in the first letter was far too generic, that means the university failed in telling what are the kind of... Okay. I just request you to stay on with us, Sharon, because I believe we have to cut across to the Delhi Assembly where some ruckus is taking place.
को ये बताना चाहिए कि क्या वो मानते हैं कि मणिपुर भारत का हिस्सा है या नहीं है। आज बैठ जाइए विष्णु, बैठ जाइए। मणिपुर देश का वो राज्य है जिसे इस देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री श्री जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने उसे हिंदुस्तान का गहना कहा। मणिपुर देश का वो राज्य है जिसने मीराबाई
So some ruckus that was taking place as far as the Delhi Assembly is concerned, where we're understanding there was a discussion that was on as far as the situation in Manipur is concerned. We're also understanding BJP MLAs in fact were protesting. So that's the update that was coming in as far as the Delhi Assembly is concerned, where we just got you those visuals. There is some sort of ruckus and hangama that was taking place. Initial information is now suggesting that there was a discussion that was happening as far as the situation in Manipur is concerned, which you would remember is still volatile. Let's cut back to those proceedings.
ऐसी महिलाएं थी जिससे पूरा भारतवासी गर्व करता है। 4 मई को पूरे हिंदुस्तान।
So as we pointed out, uproar still continues as far as the Delhi Assembly is concerned, and this is what I was pointing out to our viewers a short while ago, that there is massive uproar in the Vidhan Sabha. There was ruckus, there was some sort of sloganeering as well. We're understanding there was discussion on the situation of Manipur taking place, and certain BJP MLAs in fact were protesting. We'll try and get more details, but that's the initial information that was coming in. We just got you those visuals of some sort of hangama, uproar, ruckus that was taking place. It resumed for a brief bit, but that's the update that's coming in, that there was some sort of discussion that was happening as far as the situation in Manipur is concerned, which, as I was telling our viewers, still continues to be sensitive. But the central government is also hopeful that peace will restore very, very soon. This is what we heard from the Prime Minister as well, from the ramparts of the Red Fort on the Independence Day. But as of now, the update that's coming in from the national capital is hangama still continues in the Delhi Assembly. There is uproar in the Delhi Vidhan Sabha. Our colleagues Rupashri and others also now reporting for us that there was discussion happening as far as the Manipur situation is concerned, and BJP MLAs in fact were protesting. So we'll try and establish a connection with our colleague to try and get more clarity of what's happening as of now. What are the kind of protests that are we seeing? What is the sloganeering that is taking place, and what can we expect going forward? But discussion as far as Manipur is concerned, and this is something that dominated the monsoon session of Parliament as well. But just for our viewers, as we've been pointing out, situation in Manipur still remains sensitive, but the central government is hopeful that peace will restore very, very soon. They're working in tandem with the state authorities and the state government to ensure that there can be a sense of normalcy and people can go back to their normal lives. But the update that's coming in as far as the Delhi Assembly is concerned, there is hangama that's coming in, some reactions also coming in.
बिल्कुल मार्च, हाँ, क्योंकि मेरा इशू मैंने लिखित इशू दे रखा था और इसी इशू को वो उठाना नहीं चाहती थी। और जब मैंने बार बार प्रेस किया कि आप रूल 55 में दिल्ली के मुद्दों का चर्चा कराइए, तो उन्होंने मार्शल आउट कर दिया।
So those are the updates that's coming in as far as the Delhi Assembly is concerned. We were just getting a reaction that was coming in from one BJP MLA who in fact was saying that he wanted discussion on specific issues, but before the discussion could take place, he in fact was marshalled out. Let me also now bring in our colleague Rupashri Nanda, who's in fact joining us on the broadcast. Rupashri, could you just help us understand what really led to the ruckus and hangama as far as the Vidhan Sabha is concerned?
Well, today actually a discussion on Manipur was slated in the Delhi.
मणिपुर की विधानसभा लोकसभा में चल रहा है। दिल्ली से संबंधित मामलों को दिल्ली की विधानसभा में उठाया जाना चाहिए, जैसे कि शीश महल, और एक नया काम अभी हुआ है। नरेश नाम का एक जो हमारा विधायक है, वो एक गैंगस्टर जो कि विदेशों में रहता है, उसके साथ मिलकर जबरन वसूली जो कर रहा है, उस मामले को भी सदन को संज्ञान लेकर उसके ऊपर बहस की जानी चाहिए।
आप लोगों लेकिन यहाँ पे मणिपुर पे चर्चा हो रही थी, वहाँ पे नारे लग रहे थे, जो दुर्गेश पाठक ने नारे लगाए, बाकी लोगों ने कि बीजेपी के राज में, मोदी तेरे राज में मणिपुर जल गया आग में, आप लोगों ने उस पर विरोध किया।
सवाल ये है कि जो मामला जिस स्टेट का है या पार्लियामेंट का है, उसका दिल्ली से तो कोई लेना देना नहीं। दिल्ली की पहली प्रायोरिटी दिल्ली से संबंधित मामलों की है। आप उसकी कॉस्ट पे उसको डाइवर्ट करने के लिए जब इस तरह का प्रयास करते हैं तो उससे दिल्ली के जो नागरिक हैं उनकी जो बेसिक जरूरतें हैं उनसे कहीं ना कहीं आप मुंह मोड़ रहे हैं।
आप लोगों की तरफ से कई सारे मामले रखे गए। डिप्टी स्पीकर ने कहा कि जब यूपी के सदन में भी सदन के अंदर चर्चा की मांग की गई।
देखिए, हम दिल्ली विधानसभा के सदस्य हैं, हम ये कह रहे हैं दिल्ली की जनता की जो बेसिक जरूरतें हैं आप उनके ऊपर चर्चा कीजिए। वो कहते हैं हम दिल्ली के लोगों के विषय में चर्चा नहीं करेंगे और मणिपुर, यूपी, हैदराबाद की चर्चा करेंगे। तो ये सदन यूपी, हैदराबाद, मणिपुर के लिए नहीं है।
चर्चा कराइए, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने चर्चा नहीं की। मुझे लगता है जो कंक्लूजन शायद हम लोग कहते, आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के विधायकों ने अपने मुंह से वो बात कह दी। मोहन सिंह बिष्ट जी ने कहा कि मणिपुर उनके लिए मायने नहीं रखता। अभय वर्मा जी ने कहा मणिपुर क्या मुद्दा है, और इसी तरह से बिदुड़ी जी ने कहा और बाकी साथियों ने कहा। आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी को ये बताना चाहिए कि क्या वो मणिपुर को इस देश का हिस्सा मानते हैं कि नहीं मानते। अगर मानते हैं तो उन्होंने क्या किया। उनके मुख्यमंत्री का ये बयान है कि ये तो आपने एक वीडियो देखा, इस तरह की तो सैकड़ों और हजारों वीडियो हमारे पास पड़ी हुई है। आज मणिपुर के अंदर महिलाएं सुरक्षित नहीं है, बच्चे सुरक्षित नहीं है, बुजुर्ग सुरक्षित नहीं है, युवा सुरक्षित नहीं है।
Our colleague Rupashri still continues to be with us. So Rupashri, I'm understanding about 4 BJP MLAs in fact were marshalled out, and that has now resulted into a war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. Please give us better context of what really happened.
Well, there is a discussion now which is happening on the floor of the House on Manipur, on the issue of Manipur, and Aam Aadmi Party MLAs were listed as speakers on that, and BJP MLAs on the floor of the House actually protested vehemently, saying that on the floor of the House in the Delhi Assembly, issues of Delhi should be discussed and not the issue of Manipur. To which Aam Aadmi Party MLA Durgesh Pathak was actually responding by saying that Manipur is also a part of Delhi, so why should it not be discussed? And remember, today Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is also expected to be in the Delhi Assembly, and he's expected to speak at 4 o'clock, so expect more fireworks then. So what happened is when BJP MLAs continued to protest as Durgesh Pathak was speaking, they went into the well of the House, and that is where when the Speaker actually gave that ruling. But until now, over the past 1.5 days, actually the proceedings of the House had been remarkably smooth, and no such breaking point had happened when the opposition members actually had to be marshalled out.
Okay.
But given that Manipur is a very sensitive issue, given that the central government is also very particular about Manipur, given that BJP MLAs also want to protect the central government and their own party over the issue, and given the fact that BJP MLAs also want to put the Aam Aadmi Party, on the dock, like you heard, on the issue of various cases of alleged corruption, including one that has been done today by another news organization, and therefore the standoff actually happened.
Okay, Rupashri, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let's now shift our focus to the other big story that we are tracking. There is a fresh new controversy that is now erupted after comments that came in from Ghulam Nabi Azad, the former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. He made remarks as far as the historical backdrop of religions in India are concerned. In a video that is now circulating and has gone viral on social media, Ghulam Nabi Azad is seen sharing his perspective that all individuals were initially associated with Hinduism in this nation. Addressing a gathering in the Doda district, Ghulam Nabi Azad commented, and I am quoting from what he said, around 1500 years ago, Islam emerged, whereas Hinduism has ancient roots. He also said that conversions from Hinduism to Islam occurred within the Indian subcontinent. Now, this has resulted into massive political war of words. These remarks have been condemned by the National Conference, who've gone on to say that Ghulam Nabi Azad is working as a stooge of the BJP.
मैं पार्लियामेंट में बोला बहुत सारी चीजें जो यहाँ आपको नहीं पहुंचती हमारे बीजेपी के किसी लीडर ने बताया कि भाई कोई बाहर से आए हैं, कोई अंदर से आए। मैंने कहा देखो, अंदर बाहर से कोई नहीं आया। हमारे हिंदुस्तान में इस्लाम सिर्फ, और वैसे पूरा इस्लाम तो आया ही है 1500 साल पहले। हिंदू धर्म बहुत पुराना है। तो बाहर से आए होंगे 10-20, वो जब मुगलों के वक्त में उनकी फौज में थे। बाकी तो सब हिंदू से ही कन्वर्ट हुए हैं मुसलमान हिंदुस्तान में। और उसकी मिसाल हमारी कश्मीर में है। कश्मीर में कौन था 600 साल पहले मुसलमान? सब कश्मीरी पंडित थे, सब वही इस्लाम कर गए, बन गए। तो मैंने कहा सब इसी धर्म में पैदा हुए।
आजाद जी से मैं कहता हूं कि आप एक समय निश्चित करिए, हिंदू महासभा आपको हिंदू सनातन धर्म में प्रवेश की करने के लिए पूरी व्यवस्था करेगी, यज्ञ अनुष्ठान कराएंगे और आपको हिंदू सनातन धर्म में आपका स्वागत करेंगे। तो मैं तो चाहता हूँ वो गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब आए, अपने अनुयायियों को लाना, अनुयायियों को भी लाए जो आना चाहते हैं। आप तो एक उच्च परंपरा के ब्राह्मण थे वहाँ से और कन्वर्ट हो गए। वहाँ पे काफ़ी गुजर हैं, ब्राह्मण हैं जो कन्वर्ट हो गए, जैसे फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब हैं, चाहे और भी तमाम जितने महबूबा, ये सब तो हिंदू ही थे। आज जो हमारे खून के ही प्यासे हो गए, भाई भाई के ही खून के प्यासे हैं। तो इसलिए प्यासे हैं कि वो हमें काफिर समझते हैं। जैसे हिंदू सनातन धर्म में आएंगे वो सबको वसुदेव कुटुंबकम की भाव आ जाएगा।
बशीर साहब, किस तरह से गुलाम नबी आज़ाद के उस बयान को लेते हैं जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि इस्लाम बाद में आया, पहले हिंदुज़्म था और कश्मीरी पंडित जो है कश्मीर में वो भी सभी जो जहाँ पहले वहाँ सिर्फ कश्मीरी पंडित रहते थे, फिर कन्वर्जन हुआ और फिर इस्लाम उन्होंने किया। तो किस तरह से इस चीज़ को लेते?
जी, गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब ने जो बयान दिया है ये किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में दिया है? उन्होंने ये कहा है कि पार्लियामेंट में और बातों के अलावा उन्होंने इस बात के ऊपर भी बात की है कि इस्लाम यहाँ कब आया और हिंदू धर्म जो है वो सबसे पुराना है। इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है, लेकिन सियासत को धर्म से अलग रखना जरूरी है। किसी भी सियासी लीडर को ये काम धर्म गुरु का है, वो ये देखें कि कौन चीज़ पहले आई कौन बाद आई और उसके ऊपर बहस वो करें। तो गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब ने जो बात करी है उसको मैं ये कहूँगा कि ये नागपुर एजेंडा ना चलाए, ये उनका इशू है, वो करने दें उनको। ये अपने आप को बी टीम साबित करने की कोशिश कर रहा है कि मैं यहाँ बीजेपी की बी टीम हूँ।
एक पार्ट में उनकी अज्ञानता बिल्कुल साफ झलकती है, क्योंकि हमारी मान्यताओं के मुताबिक, इस्लामिक मान्यताओं के मुताबिक, जो दुनिया का सबसे पहला इंसान है जिसको हम हज़रत आदम कहते हैं, जो हिंदुस्तान में आया सबसे पहला इंसान, वो मुसलमान था। उनकी जो वाइफ थी हज़रत हव्वा, वो भी मुसलमान थी। जन्नत से उनको उतारा गया हमारी मान्यताओं के मुताबिक, और वो अल्लाह के नबी थे, नबी मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड। जैसे मोहम्मद साहब मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड थे, हज़रत आदम सबसे पहले मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड थे, हज़रत मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सबसे बाद के मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड जो 1500 साल पहले आए। तो ये कहना कि इस्लाम 1500 साल पहले आए, ये अज्ञानता है, उनको जानकारी नहीं इस्लाम के बारे में।
And we're now getting a reaction coming in from Umar Abdullah also as far as these remarks of Ghulam Nabi Azad are concerned. Umar Abdullah has gone on to say, I can't really say as far as what these comments meant. You can ask Ghulam Nabi Azad. But he's also taken a slight jibe where he said only Ghulam Nabi Azad can tell you who he was really trying to impress. Let's listen into that soundbite.
मणिपुर वो किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में कहा ना, अब मैं उसमें कह नहीं सकता हूँ, ये तो आपको आज़ाद साहब से कहना होगा। आज़ाद साहब ने किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में कहा, क्यों कहा, किसको खुश करने के लिए कहा, ये तो आज़ाद साहब ही कह सकते हैं ना, मैं नहीं कह सकता।
So that's the word that's coming in from Omar Abdullah, who's gone on to say, I can't really tell you in what context this was spoken, but as I pointed out, he's taken a jibe saying, I don't know who he was really trying to impress. Let's also now bring in our colleague Tejinder Singh Sodhi, who's joining us on the broadcast. Tejinder, this has now resulted into a fresh political war of words. Multiple reactions coming in from leaders of the valley. The NC has reacted. Omar Abdullah has just given a bite. They're saying Ghulam Nabi Azad is now working as a stooge of the BJP.
Indeed, Ridhima, you see a massive controversy has broken here in Jammu and Kashmir after this video of Ghulam Nabi Azad speaking about Islam, about Hinduism has surfaced. In this video, Ghulam Nabi Azad was referring to the fact that Islam came just 1500 years ago, but Hinduism is the oldest religion. And he gave an example of Kashmir when he said that Islam entered Kashmir only 600 years ago, and there were all Hindus in Kashmir. But everybody who is born here, he's Hindu. So this is what Ghulam Nabi Azad has said. But now, as you rightly pointed out, that a controversy has broken out. Omar Abdullah, he also made a subtle attack on Ghulam Nabi Azad, wherein he said only Azad knows whom he wanted to impress. Even several Muslim religious leaders have also slammed Ghulam Nabi Azad by giving reference to their own scripture. But the people from minority community, especially the Hindus, especially the Kashmiri Pandits, they have welcomed this statement. They are saying that they have been saying this for ages, that the Kashmiri Pandits were forcefully converted to Islam, and this fact has now been acknowledged by the former Chief Minister. Yes.
Tejinder, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Keep a close eye on all those developments for us. On that note, we do have to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with lots more.
A current in the water, there is a heavy pressure in the water, and that is why this entire situation is very sensitive. In fact, I have the person whose home has been affected by this. Sir, मैं एक चीज़ समझना चाहूँगा आपसे पहले तो ये बताइए कब ये घटना हुई एग्जैक्टली और क्या कुछ हुआ और आप कहाँ थे उस समय पे?
एक्चुअली ऐसा है कि 13 अगस्त की सुबह लगभग 6:30 बजे के करीब जब हम उठे और लोगों ने आवाज़ें लगाना शुरू की कि क्लाउड ब्रस्ट हो गया है, और जो मिट्टी की एक स्मेल जैसी होती है वो हम सब ने उसको महसूस किया, और तभी हम सभी लोग घर से वहाँ से भागे और जो एडजॉइनिंग हमारे पास वहाँ पर घर थे उसकी स्लैब के ऊपर खड़े होकर के देखने लगे कि क्या हुआ। जितना भी ये डैमेज हुआ है इसका मंजर हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा हुआ है, और ये सारा का सारा जो हमारा घर जो ब्रस्ट हुआ है वो जो त्रासदी है इसको हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा है। और ये बहुत ही दुखद है कि प्रशासन के लोग जो थे वो स्टेट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वाले लोग भी यहाँ अब तक, जब तक आप रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं तब तक यहाँ कोई नहीं आया हुआ है। और हमारा सरकार से निवेदन रहेगा कि इस पूरी के पूरी जोन में, क्योंकि हर जगह दरारें आ गई हैं, और सरकार से मेरा निवेदन रहेगा कि इसका जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे करवाया जाए ताकि लोगों में जो दहशत है वो ख़त्म हो सके और लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ पर रह सकें। अगर ये बर्थ प्लेस जो है वो रहने लायक नहीं बचा है तो सरकार इसका सर्वे करवा करके हमें उचित मुआवजा दे लोगों को ताकि उनका वो पुनर्वास कर सके।
मैम, मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ बहुत ही कठिन समय है आप लोगों के लिए। मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफ़ेक्टेड है आपका। आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग। बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है। तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा, तो मैं 3 जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ। जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है, ये गांव पूरा मेरा। दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बना है वो भी सारी सिरखट जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है। तीसरी जगह जहाँ बेटी की शादी की है वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं, वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के हम मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ था प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम, तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे,
हाँ जी।
तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर हैं।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं, तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे पानी की आवाज़ आई और पत्थर, इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए। और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन लोगों ने सब ने मिल के बाहर निकाला, वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं, तो उनको सरका घाट वो बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया। फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया। तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है, और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं और हमारी मांग है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो, और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे। होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we're understanding a key highway is also Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We're getting some breaking developments now coming in. And this is in context of that very unfortunate death that has happened of a 17-year-old student at Jadavpur University. So now we're understanding a new circular, in fact, has been issued, and this is coming from the registrar of the university. So it's made it very clear that anyone who's coming in from 8 p.m. in the evening to morning 7 o'clock, an identity card will now be needed if you need to check in to the hostel. Whereas other checkpoints will also be created, a university ID card will also have to be shown if you want to get inside the university. This is, as I pointed out, a new circular that has now been given and issued by the Jadavpur University, which clearly states all individuals will have to show an ID card if demanded, if they want to make their way inside the Jadavpur University. Let's get our colleague Kamalika Sengupta back on the broadcast. Kamalika, talk to us about this new circular that has been issued.
One thing is, one thing is clear, that at least the 17 years old boy's death has actually, helped the university to wake up. They were sleeping for so long years, and now they have come up with a circular. The circular, number one, the circular states that if from night 8 p.m. to morning 7 a.m. somebody wants to enter the university, and also this thing will be applicable in hostel as what we are getting, then one has to show ID card if required. Not only that, any time during the university, if ID card is asked, that has to be shown. Number one. Number two, if bikes and other things go inside the university or the hostel campus, then there has to be some ID, stickers, Jadavpur University ID stickers. That is also there in this circular. Third, and the most important thing, that narcotics or alcohol or such things will not be, if seen or if found, then strict action will be taken, and this will not be allowed. That has also been there in the circular. Now the register has, these are all the things which has been in circular. But the most important thing which is required for the administration, and also which is required by the police, because this time it is becoming a problem because the CCTV was not there. So the register today has spoken about installing CCTV cameras in gates. That is very, very, very important point, and that was what was required. But interestingly, that thing is not there in circular. because a CCTV installation is not very easy. So there the students will again, we have spoken to a wide range of students, and students have already started saying that everything is okay, but they won't allow the CCTV cameras to be there. So that is the most important point, that whether CCTV will be installed or not, the registrar has said for say that yes, they are discussing and they will be installing the CCTV cameras, but whether actually, practically, they can do it or not, that's a big question that is to be seen.
Kamalka, very valid points that you're making, but what is the real unfortunate bit is that it's taken the death of a 17-year-old student for this action to even being at least thought of or implemented eventually. But what are students on the ground saying? Are they happy with the kind of progress that is being made?
See, all this ID card and all these things, it's okay for the students. But the students are going to resist on the point of this CCTV camera. Because according to the, the unions which are more dominant in Jadavpur University, the FETSU, the ISA, the FAS, which is a part of a left organization but not SFI. SFI is still okay with installation of SFI, that means the CPIM students doing it, still they are okay with the CCTV camera. But the other left unions, they are not okay with the CCTV camera. CCTV camera, the TMCP is okay, the BJP Yuva Morcha is okay. But they don't have much stake inside the university as left and ultra-left organizations, students union have. They are going to protest on this. So, it's not very easy for the authorities to implement this.
Okay, Kamalika, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We have to quickly shift our focus to some other breaking developments now coming in. And this is news now coming in once again as far as the Delhi Assembly is concerned, where we reported of hangama a short while ago. This was over discussion on Manipur. Now, what you see in the visuals that we are playing out, BJP MLAs are protesting outside the Delhi Assembly. As we pointed out a short while ago, there was ruckus as far as the Delhi Assembly is concerned. As many as 4 BJP MLAs, in fact, were marshalled out as well. And all of this because Aam Aadmi Party wanted a discussion as far as Manipur is concerned, and this was then opposed as far as the BJP is concerned. BJP MLAs also raised slogans. About 4 of them were marshalled out as well. Now many of them protesting outside the Delhi Assembly. Our colleague Rupashri Nanda is back with us on the broadcast. Rupashri, help us understand what's the plan as far as the BJP is concerned. What are you seeing around you?
Well, as far as today is concerned, I do not expect the BJP MLAs to be back in the House when the Chief Minister speaks. The BJP MLAs have made their point. They protested very strongly on the floor of the House when Aam Aadmi Party MLAs raised the issue of Manipur. The argument of the BJP MLAs was that this is the Delhi Assembly and issues of Delhi should, have topmost priority. The BJP MLAs were also saying that they wanted to raise the issues of alleged corruption of the Aam Aadmi Party's government and put the government on the dock, and that is what the Speaker did not allow for today. So that is the argument that the BJP MLA have been saying. Aam Aadmi Party MLAs, on the other hand, have been insisting that Manipur is a national issue and Delhi, also has the full right to discuss the issue of Manipur. Now, remember, this was actually, it is not something that has happened unexpectedly. It was expected that Aam Aadmi Party, because it was listed today for discussion, but the manner in which the Speaker marshalled out the MLAs was not actually expected, because over the last, 1 day and up till now, the House, even though they had various issues or points of differences, they were functioning cordially, giving space to each other.
Okay.
After this, what is going to happen is the Chief Minister is expected to be in the Delhi Assembly at around 3:30, 3:45, and then he is going to speak most likely on the Manipur issue at 4 p.m. And that is what the BJP does not want to happen in the Delhi Assembly. And that is how, and as I said before, they've made their point. They're protesting. They've managed to, grab eyeballs. They've managed to, amplify their point, and that is what they had wanted to do.
Rupashri, we'll just request you to stay on with us because we also have our colleague Akash, who's also now joining us on the broadcast. So Akash, there were scenes of absolute ruckus and hangama that came to us a short while ago. The bone of contention was a discussion on Manipur. Now the BJP is saying this is a national issue. We want to discuss issues that impact the lives of people of the national capital. How is the Aam Aadmi Party responding? Akash, can you hear me? Okay, we'll just try and re-establish that connection. In the meantime, let's take a look at some reactions.
देखिए, दिल्ली सरकार के हर डिपार्टमेंट में भ्रष्टाचार चरम सीमा पर है और अब तो उनके एक सदस्य नरेश बालियान जो विदेशी एक गैंगस्टर के साथ मिलकर जबरन वसूली का कार्य कर रहे हैं, ये चीज भी प्रकाश में आई है। हम ये चाहते हैं कि दिल्ली विधानसभा में इन घोटालों के ऊपर चर्चा कराई जाए।
शराब घोटाला, उसके बाद है पैनिक बटन घोटाला,
मणिपुर मुद्दा हमारे इस विधानसभा के अधिकार क्षेत्र से बाहर है। पहले दिल्ली से संबंधित घोटाले और जो चीजें जरूरत की हैं उनके ऊपर चर्चा की जानी चाहिए।
My colleague Akash is in fact back with us on the broadcast. Akash, if you can hear me this time around, the visuals that we got were absolute hangama and chaos a short while ago. This was on the issue of Manipur. The BJP is saying that Manipur is a national issue. We want to discuss issues that impact the lives of citizens of Delhi. How is the Aam Aadmi Party responding?
Right, and first of all, let me make it very clear that BJP, MLAs are saying that, whenever it is about Manipur, so Manipur Assembly will discuss, and then Delhi Assembly has, important issues to discuss. For example, they are citing that, the sales problem of the national capital, and also there are other issues. They are talking about DTP Ghotala and a number of things. And they, as of now, are saying that, you need to discuss all these things because these things are important for Delhi, and that is the reason why they were marshalled out first, and now they are in fact protesting in front of Delhi Assembly. Also, I want to mention very clearly that, Ajay Dutt of the BJP in fact said that whatever happened in Haryana, somewhere Aam Aadmi Party was responsible for that, and in fact they are saying that, those were Aam Aadmi Party karyakartas who were somewhere responsible for what happened in Nu, and that is the reason why a party where the karyakartas of that particular party are responsible for such things, then that party should not talk about issues like Manipur, and this is the reason why they were marshalled out first, and then also now they are protesting in front of the assembly.
Okay, if Akash, I'll just request you to stay on with us. If Rupashri is still with us. Okay, I'll just request our colleagues to stay on with us. O.P. Sharma of the BJP, in fact, is now joining us on the broadcast. So we did see those visuals of absolute hangama. 4 BJP MLAs were marshalled out. Could you talk to us about what really happened?
Six.
Okay, 6 of them, and you were one of them. So could you talk to us about what really happened on the floor of the House?
देखिए, दिल्ली की विधानसभा में दिल्ली के से संबंधित मुद्दों के ऊपर चर्चा कराने की बजाय जो दिल्ली विधानसभा जिसके लिए एंटाइटल नहीं है, दूसरे प्रदेशों के विषय में जो बात कर रहे हैं, दिल्ली के अंदर शीश महल का घोटाला है। अभी आज ये एक नया घोटाला आया है, एक गैंगस्टर विदेश में बैठकर नरेश बालियान जो कि आम पार्टी का विधायक है, उस गैंगस्टर के साथ मिलकर दिल्ली में जबरन वसूली कर रहा है। इस प्रकार की खबरें टीवी के माध्यम से चल रही हैं। तो हमने हाउस में ये कहा कि दिल्ली से संबंधित मुद्दे जिसमें कि नरेश बालियान का है, शीश महल का है और भ्रष्टाचार का मामला है, इन सभी मुद्दों के ऊपर, जिसमें वृद्धा पेंशन का भी मामला है, इन मुद्दों के ऊपर आप चर्चा कराएं। लेकिन उन सब चीजों को इग्नोर करते हुए उनका कहना यह है कि मणिपुर में मणिपुर विधानसभा और लोकसभा दोनों जगह बहस हो चुकी है और कोई भी किसी तरह का ऑर्डर पास करना या नहीं करना दिल्ली की विधानसभा में मणिपुर के लिए उसका कोई औचित्य ही नहीं है। तो जिस चीज का कोई औचित्य नहीं है उस तरह डाइवर्ट करके दिल्ली की जनता की जो जरूरत है, दिल्ली की जनता के जो लेजिटिमेट डिमांड्स हैं, जो दिल्ली में भ्रष्टाचार हो रहा है, उन सब चीजों को दरकिनार करते हुए आप चीजों को डाइवर्ट करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, जो कि गलत है और हम इसकी भर्त्सना करते हैं।
जी, तो सर 2 चीज़ मैं आपसे समझना चाहती हूँ। आपने कहा कि मणिपुर को छोड़ के आप बाकी मुद्दों के बारे में चर्चा करना चाहते थे जिनका एक डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट होता है दिल्ली के सिटीजन के ऊपर। जब आपने कहा आप इन मुद्दों पे बात करना चाहते हैं, तब क्या हुआ? क्या इमीडिएटली आप और आपके बाकी एमएलएस को मार्शल आउट कर दिया गया?
निश्चित रूप से हमारा कहना यह है कि दिल्ली की विधानसभा में आप कभी मणिपुर की बात करते हैं, कभी हैदराबाद की बात करते हैं, कभी यूपी की बात करते हैं। हमारा कहना है हम दिल्ली विधानसभा के सदस्य हैं। दिल्ली के लोगों की जरूरत, दिल्ली में हो रही चीजों के ऊपर हमें चर्चा करनी चाहिए, ना कि इन चीजों को डाइवर्ट करके
इन चीजों से बचना चाहिए।
सर, हमारे पास जो कुछ तस्वीरें आ रही हैं, जो विजुअल्स आ रहे हैं, बीजेपी अब प्रोटेस्ट कर रही है दिल्ली असेंबली के बाहर। अब क्या प्लान है बीजेपी का?
नहीं, हम खड़े हैं और हम ये चाहते हैं मीडिया के थ्रू हम ये बताएं, शराब घोटाला, पैनिक घोटाला, शीश महल घोटाला, जल बोर्ड घोटाला, बिजली घोटाला, डीटीसी घोटाला, स्कूल रूम का घोटाला और इसी तरीके से पीडब्ल्यूडी का घोटाला, पीडब्ल्यूडी विज्ञापन घोटाला, जासूसी घोटाला और अब नरेश बालियान के द्वारा एक गैंगस्टर के साथ मिलकर जबरन वसूली का घोटाला, इन सब चीजों के ऊपर दिल्ली विधानसभा में चर्चा होनी चाहिए।
सर, मैं एक आखिरी सवाल आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ। मणिपुर का जो मुद्दा है, अभी जो मॉनसून सेशन ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हुआ था उसमें भी ऑपोजिशन का यही अटैक था बीजेपी की तरफ कि आप मणिपुर के बारे में चर्चा नहीं करना चाहते। इससे ये दिखता है कि मणिपुर आपकी प्रायोरिटी लिस्ट पर है ही नहीं। आज जब बीजेपी वापस इसी चीज़ को प्रोटेस्ट कर रही है विधानसभा में, तो आपको नहीं लगता है कि ऑपोजिशन फिर से ऐसा एक नैरेटिव खड़ा करेगी?
मैं आपके इन शब्दों का विरोध करता हूँ कि मणिपुर हमारी प्रायोरिटी में नहीं है। मणिपुर इस देश का हिस्सा है, हमारी प्रायोरिटी में, लेकिन दिल्ली की विधानसभा में दूसरे प्रदेशों के ऊपर चर्चा करने का औचित्य नहीं है। मेरा केवल ये कहना है कि हमारी पहली प्रायोरिटी दिल्ली से संबंधित समस्याओं से पे चर्चा करने की है। उनकी कॉस्ट पे हम दूसरे स्टेटों की चर्चा करें जिनके बारे में हम इंटाइटल नहीं हैं, उसके बारे में चर्चा करके हम सदन का समय खराब करेंगे और दिल्ली की जनता के साथ अनजस्टिस भी करेंगे।
Okay, so we'll have to leave that conversation there. Appreciate you speaking to us here at CNN News 18. So that's the word that's coming in from one of the BJP MLAs who in fact was marshalled out as far as proceedings of the Delhi Assembly are concerned. This is a big developing story. We'll continue to track all those developments. For now, slipping into a very short break. Closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll. Roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now completely shut or blocked?
Well, Ridhima, the situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular, I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Sugain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see. So this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that, this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's a lucky, it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here, how you can see how trees being uprooted. In fact, before this cloudburst happened, what we are given to understand, this was a normal road where the people used to commute, but now you can see this place has entirely changed into a ghost valley over here. In fact, these stones, they were not here. These stones actually rolled down from the top, and in fact the silver lining in this entire case is that no one was injured, gravely injured, and no casualty was reported from this very spot. Something to worry is that the water is still coming from the upper zones, which actually creates a lot of problem for these people, because with water the stones also come down to this very place, and in fact there is a current in the water, there is a heavy pressure in the water, and that is why this entire situation is very sensitive. In fact, I have the person whose home has been affected by this. Sir, मैं एक चीज समझना चाहूंगा मैं आपसे पहले तो ये बताइए कब ये घटना हुई एग्जैक्टली, और क्या कुछ हुआ, और आप कहाँ थे उस समय पे?
एक्चुअली ऐसा है कि 13 अगस्त की सुबह लगभग 6:30 बजे के करीब जब हम उठे और लोगों ने आवाज़ें लगाना शुरू की कि क्लाउड ब्रस्ट हो गया है, और जो मिट्टी की एक स्मेल जैसी होती है वो हम सब ने उसको महसूस किया, और तभी हम सभी लोग घर से वहाँ से भागे, और जो एडजॉइनिंग हमारे पास वहाँ पर घर थे उसकी स्लैब के ऊपर खड़े होकर देखने लगे कि क्या हुआ। जितना भी ये डैमेज हुआ है इसका
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's talk about what's taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Incessant rains still continue to wreak havoc in parts of Himachal Pradesh, which has now resulted in damage to more buildings and more properties. On Wednesday, the updated figure that we have is that 50 people have succumbed to death, making Shimla and Mandi the worst affected districts in the state, which means over 600 roads have been blocked and they have no transport facilities currently on. This includes the key Shimla-Chandigarh highway. Meanwhile, the Chief Minister Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu conducted an aerial survey in Kangra district to assess the ground situation amid the rain. The rescue operations are currently underway. Authorities fear finding more dead bodies under the debris and rubble. Our colleague CNN News 18's Yash Goyal has been on ground zero bringing us these reports. Let's take a look.
We are traveling through Himachal Pradesh to get you the ground reality, what is actually happening in the state after those flash floods and heavy rains which actually lashed parts of the Himachal Pradesh. In particular, there are 3-4 areas which are worst affected. The first one is Shimla, the second one is Mandi, and right now we are coming to you from Mandi, and I just want to show you how these rains have destroyed this entire area. This in particular is Sarka Ghat area, and this very road actually leads towards the bus stand of Sarka Ghat, and in fact these were the small villages or small townships which were actually connecting to the main part of this very place. Now you can see around all the roads are washed away, and there is only mud on the ground. Both the areas, both the sides of the road, one side is the cliff where there is barely any space to actually drive the car as well, and in fact there are hardly any people I can see around this very place, and on the other side are those homes which are actually hanging on the cliff. You can see these are all the vehicles who've been stuck, the vehicles which are stuck at this very point for a very long time now, because what we're given to understand at this very space, the incident happened on the 14th of August, and after that this is the condition over here, and today is 17th, it's almost 3 days, and on the other side of this very road you can see how landslide has affected this entire area. I am in the Tati area. This particular area you can see the damage, the kind of damage which has been done due to the landslide at this very point. You can see how homes have been washed away. This entire road has been washed away because of the floods, and in fact that flood caused landslide in this very area. Now I can tell you one thing, that this was one complete road, and you can see how part of this road has been completely washed away by these landslides. You can see these are some localites who have actually come to pay a visit to one of their neighbors whose home has been washed away, and in fact they are living in their home. Those people are living in their home. The condition is so bad that authorities have cordoned off this entire area, and no one is actually allowed to enter this very space. You can see how this entire road has cracked, and the water is also continuously coming from the upper sides, so that increases the risk of landslide and also increases the risk of further more damage to the properties. What we are given to understand, there is no particular number as to how many homes collapsed at this very site, but there were many people living at this very space, because this is a residential area. In fact, this particular area is Tati, which comes under Sarka Ghat, which is considered to be one of the worst affected in Mandi. The situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Sugain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see, so this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's a lucky, it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here.
And we have to quickly shift our focus to some other breaking developments now coming in. The update that we're now getting is the BJP in fact has released the first list as far as Chhattisgarh is concerned. Some more details that we're picking up, and we're going to put out snapshot of that list as well, that there are 39 candidates that have a mention on that list that has been released by the BJP just minutes ago. So this becomes the first list as far as Chhattisgarh is concerned. Let's bring in our colleague Payal Mehta, who's joining us on the broadcast. Payal, give us the details. I believe there are 39 candidates whose names have been released.
Ridhima, like we reported late last night, that the BJP had the CEC meeting in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi, JP Nadda, Amit Shah amongst the others were present, and also Dr. Raman Singh, the former Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh and now the Vice President of the BJP. Now, the BJP had categorized itself into four categories of seats as far as A, B, C and D are concerned. There was a detailed discussion on 27 seats which fell in the C and the D category because they wanted to give their candidates enough time to hit ground and probably make an impact as well. This is possibly the first time in my memory in BJP's history that the party has declared the seats ahead of the announcement of the poll dates and ahead of the announcement of the election by the Election Commission as well. So the party, knowing very well that they stand on a weak footing as far as Chhattisgarh is concerned, in 2018 they were able to just win 15 out of 90 seats, and it was an overwhelming 68 seats that Chhattisgarh government led by Bhupesh Baghel were able to get. So the BJP hitting the ground running, getting itself prepared as far as the upcoming state elections are concerned, in particular with Chhattisgarh, where they were ousted out of power because of the Congress party's overwhelming win.
Payal, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Well, with that, it's a wrap from my side, but news continues here on CNN News 18. My colleague Greya is in the studio to take the news forward. Hi, Greya.
Thank you so much for that, Ridhima, and thank you so much for staying with CNN News 18. I'm Rihadul Siddiqui. Over the next 60 minutes, I'm going to be also bringing you the top stories that dominate the headlines. And this evening at 4 p.m., we are getting the top priority that is coming in from the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress Party, where there is a lot of conundrum when it is about the India alliance. So what has happened here is that the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress are again at loggerheads over contesting the Lok Sabha elections together. Now what has happened is that the controversy erupted after Congress leader Alka Lamba in fact said that the party has asked its cadres to prepare on all 7 Lok Sabha seats in Delhi. Her statement evoked a sharp reaction from the Aam Aadmi Party. Responding to Lamba's claim, in fact, Aam Aadmi Chief National Spokesperson Priyanka Kakkar said that if Congress has already decided to not form an alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party, then it is of no use for us to attend the next India Alliance meeting that is all set to take place in Mumbai. Now, meanwhile, according to sources, Congress wants at least 2 seats in New Delhi, 5 specific seats in addition to the others, especially in the state of West Bengal, where again there is going to be a tussle that's now impending between the Congress and the Trinamool Congress.
Yesterday, the Lok Sabha strategy meeting of Delhi took place. Now, a bit of confusion is there, controversy you can say, where a statement by one of the spokesperson has been now taken by the Aam Aadmi Party and saying that Congress is going alone. There is not going to be an alliance with any of the party, and all 7 seats are going to be contested by Congress party alone.
See, first of all, I would like to clarify that this meeting wasn't for Lok Sabha election preparation. It was for organizational setup, how to revamp the party. This is absolutely incorrect that this meeting was for preparation of Lok Sabha election. And secondly, there wasn't any discussion about the seat sharing. I don't know from where this news has been broken. But Rahul ji was there, Kharge ji was there, and our in charge, Mr. Babaria was there, K.C. Venugopal ji was there. I was just besides Rahul ji, I haven't even heard from any corner that there was any discussion about the seat sharing and Lok Sabha.
Sort of my first question is about this huge debate that is taking place over this Congress and Aam Aadmi Party alliance. Yesterday we heard party spokesperson say that they will boycott attending the next meeting because of a statement made by some of the leaders. What is the stand today?
I think the Congress leadership has clarified that the statements by the state spokesperson of Congress is not an authorized statement of the party, and I think the matter ends there.
So there is no question of any boycott now?
No, I don't think that matter still remains. The matter started with the Congress spokesperson and ends with the official statement of the party.
So you're hopeful of a productive alliance or a constructive alliance between the 2 parties in Delhi and elsewhere also?
We are very hopeful that all opposition parties this time will represent the country, will represent India, and BJP's government will not come to power in 2024.
मेरी तो समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि आम आदमी पार्टी हैं, उनके जो हैं समझ के लिए मैं क्या कहूँ. अलका लांबा is a spokesperson. She is not an authorized spokesperson for talking on such major important issues. जो पत्रकार ने उनसे पूछा है उसकी मैच्योरिटी के बारे में भी मुझको शंका लगता है. और जो है जहाँ मैंने व्हेन आई हैव सेड एज एन इंचार्ज कि आज कोई चर्चा ही नहीं हुई है, तभी इसी प्रकार की बात करना, वो जो है आम आदमी पार्टी को भी समझ में आ जाना चाहिए कि जो मीडिया है पूरा का पूरा वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मदद करना चाहता है, आपको उकसाना चाहता है, और वो भी जो उकसाने के बाद ये प्रकार की बात करते हैं. मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि इट इज़ द मोस्ट अनफॉर्चुनेट थिंग. ये जो है आज कोई चर्चा ही नहीं हुई, उसके बारे में इमेजिनरी बात कर दें.
3 घंटे की मीटिंग में पूर्व कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष राहुल गांधी जी, खरगे जी, केसी वेणुगोपाल जी और दीपक बावरिया जी रहे। 3 घंटे की मीटिंग शुरुआत हुई संगठन को लेकर कि संगठन कमजोरियां क्या हैं, उस पर कैसे काम किया जाए, सुझाव आए उसको कैसे हम मजबूत कर सकते हैं। दूसरा सुझाव ये आया कि लोकसभा 2024 की तैयारियां अब हमें करनी है। मकसद वही था। दिल्ली से पहले 18 राज्यों की मीटिंगें हो चुकी हैं लोकसभा की तैयारियों को लेकर। दिल्ली 19वां राज्य था। 24 कैसे जीतना है, और बिल्कुल आदेश हुआ है कि हमें 7 सीटों पर मजबूत संगठन के साथ हर नेता को आज से अभी से निकलना है। 7 महीने 7 सीटें हैं। ये बात हुई कि जिसकी दिल्ली उसका देश होता है, ये दिल्ली का इतिहास बताता है। इसलिए कहा गया कि बिल्कुल 7 पर तैयारी रखनी है।
अलायंस के लिए कांग्रेस आई थी हमारे पास, क्योंकि कांग्रेस का कोई अस्तित्व नहीं है दिल्ली में। तो इंडिया अलायंस की अब नेक्स्ट मीटिंग हम अटेंड करते हैं कि नहीं, ये टॉप लीडरशिप डिसाइड करेगी। थोड़ा और क्लैरिटी आने दीजिए। बट अगर आज अलका लांबा जी की बात को और उनके दिल्ली प्रेसिडेंट की बात को कांग्रेस की सच माना जाए, तो अगर उन्होंने डिसाइड कर लिया है कि दिल्ली में अलायंस नहीं करना, तो फिर इंडिया अलायंस की मीटिंग का कोई मीनिंग ही नहीं रह जाता। टॉप लीडरशिप डिसाइड करेगी कि हम ये मीटिंग अटेंड करते हैं या नहीं।
I have with me Aam Aadmi Party MLA and Delhi in charge Dilip Pandey. Dilip, we have got to hear a statement coming from the Congress party. It's a bit confusing because one leader has said that they are going to prepare to fight on all 7 seats, while the other one has actually said that they are going to contest all 7 seats in Delhi. What is your reaction to that?
Even that's what when we got to know through media sources that Congress party is not probably willing to make any alliance in upcoming elections, general elections in Delhi. And if that's the case, then I guess there's no point in being part of that India alliance. And obviously the party decision is yet to come, but our leadership is going to decide whether the upcoming India alliances meeting they are going to attend or not.
दिल्ली की जब बात आती है तो स्वाभाविक है दिल्ली कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष के तौर पर ये जिम्मेवारी मुझे संगठन ने दी है कि अरविंद के उस नाकाम फेलियर को, जो जनविरोधी नीति है, उस पर हम सवाल पूछेंगे, अरविंद को कटघरे में खड़े करेंगे। उससे ना लीडरशिप पीछे हटी, ना हम पीछे हटेंगे। हम जनता के विषय पर अरविंद से सवाल पूछते आए हैं, भ्रष्टाचार पे सवाल पूछते आए हैं, अरविंद के उस निकम्मेपन पे सवाल पूछते आए हैं। संविधान की बात आएगी, तमाम विपक्षी पार्टी एक साथ बैठ रही है। इंडिया नाम का जो संगठन बना है उसमें कांग्रेस का नेतृत्व जो फैसला लेगा वो शर्माते हैं। ये आज कोई इस तरह की चर्चा गठबंधन सीट पर नहीं हुई। आगामी लोकसभा चुनाव को लेकर के प्रदेश वाइज मीटिंगें चल रही हैं, वही सिलसिला आज दिल्ली में हुआ।
Speaking of the India alliance itself, don't you think what's happening in Maharashtra, your state, Delhi, Punjab, West Bengal, there are huge question marks on how this alliance is going to function. There are like such open conflicts over seat sharings and who will fight how much.
Well, I think this is something on this large scale has never been attempted before. I mean, Mr. Modi is talking about 38 different political parties. We had 26 odd political parties and we expect to get more. This is unprecedented, a huge big alliance. And so what is really we're coming towards two ideologies, a left of center ideology of development, inclusive development, belief in the constitution, a liberal democracy and
दिल्ली आज गैंगस्टर के हत्या चढ़ गई है। दिल्ली को गैंगस्टर से छुड़वाना पड़ेगा। ये लगातार चलेगा, निरंतर चलेगा, घर घर जाएंगे, गली गली जाएंगे और जब तक जाएंगे जब तक नरेश कल्याण का इस्तीफा नहीं होगा।
देखिए, अरविंद केजरीवाल भ्रष्टाचार में इस हद तक गिर चुके हैं कि अब उन्होंने रंगदारी शुरू कर दी है।
खुलेआम झगड़ा हो गया और गोलाबारी हो गई, जो आज तक भारत में कभी नहीं हुई कि सेंट्रल फोर्सेस और लोकल पुलिस के बीच में झगड़ा हो जाए। पूरी दुनिया के अंदर भारत की थू थू हो रही है। यूरोपियन पार्लियामेंट के अंदर इस पे चर्चा हुई, अमेरिका के अंदर इस पे चर्चा हुई, वहां के नेताओं ने इसकी थू थू की, लेकिन भारत के प्रधानमंत्री चुप रहे, कुछ नहीं बोले। और एक दिन जब एक वीडियो चारों तरफ सर्कुलेट हुआ जिसमें हमारी 2 या 3 बहनों को निर्वस्त्र करके सड़क के ऊपर घुमाया गया और उनके साथ खुलेआम सरेआम कई लोगों ने मिलकर गलत काम किया, तब भी प्रधानमंत्री जी चुप रहे। उनके मुख्यमंत्री कहते हैं ये कोई आइसोलेटेड इंसिडेंट नहीं है, यहां तो ये रोज ही हो रहा है। मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि एक देश का प्रधानमंत्री एक पिता के समान होता है सबके लिए। वो जो बेटियां जिनके साथ ये गलत काम किया जा रहा था, या जितनी इतनी बेटियों के साथ उनके मुख्यमंत्री का बीरेंद्र सिंह का कहना है कि ये तो रोज हो रहा है। यहां पे लोग प्रधानमंत्री को रोज याद नहीं करते। आज मेरे घर में सब्जी नहीं बनी, घर में पानी नहीं आ रहा, तो लोग प्रधानमंत्री को याद नहीं करते। प्रधानमंत्री को याद तब करते हैं जब सारे सिस्टम फेल हो जाते हैं, तब आदमी याद करता है यार मेरा प्रधानमंत्री मेरे को बचाएगा। उन महिलाओं के लिए तो सब कुछ फेल हो गया था जिनको निर्वस्त्र करके वहां पे खुलेआम सड़कों पे घुमाया गया और खुलेआम उनके साथ गलत काम किया गया। वो तो बेटियां हैं हमारे देश की, वो तो प्रधानमंत्री जी की उम्र के हिसाब से वो तो उनके पिता समान है। पोजीशन के हिसाब से भी, उम्र के हिसाब से भी प्रधानमंत्री तो उनके पिता समान है। और जिस दिन अगर बेटियों की सरेआम इज्जत लुट रही है और बाप कहे कि मेरा इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है, तो बेटियां कहाँ जाएंगी? बाप अगर ऐसे मौके पे मुंह मोड़ ले तो बेटियां कहाँ जाएंगी? मैं देख रहा था एक रिटायर्ड आर्मी ऑफिसर जो मणिपुर का रहने वाला, उसका एक वीडियो सर्कुलेट हो रहा था। वो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का बहुत बड़ा भक्त होता था, अंध भक्त होता था। उसका पिछला ट्विटर अकाउंट उठा के देखो, उसने मोदी जी के लिए अंध भक्ति में पिछले कई सालों से खूब ट्वीट किए हुए हैं। वो रो रहा था उस वीडियो में, और रोते हुए कह रहा था कि प्रधानमंत्री जी, मैंने नहीं सोचा था कि आप हमें इस तरह से धोखा देंगे, मैंने नहीं सोचा था कि आप हमारी पीठ में छुरा घोंपेंगे, आप हमें हमारे हाल पे इस तरह से छोड़ देंगे। ये सारे बीजेपी वाले कह रहे हैं कि ये अकेला प्रधानमंत्री आज जो पिछले 9 साल में 50 बार नॉर्थ ईस्ट गया था। अध्यक्ष महोदया, हमारा कोई रिश्तेदार हमारे खुशी के मौके पे तो रोज आए, लेकिन जिस दिन मुसीबत हो उस दिन मुंह मोड़ ले। तो आदमी तो असली दोस्त तो वही होता है ना जो मुसीबत में काम आता है। असली साथी वो थोड़ी होता है जो कि शादी ब्याह में। तो जब हमारे घर में मुसीबत आई, जब मणिपुर के अंदर मुसीबत आई, जब मणिपुर जल रहा था, लोग मर रहे थे, लोगों के घर जलाए जा रहे थे, महिलाओं के साथ गलत काम किया जा रहा था, तब आपको सुध नहीं आई, तब आप अपने कमरे के अंदर कुंडी मार के बैठ गए। पूरा देश इस टाइम स्तब्ध है और पूरा देश पूछ रहा है कि प्रधानमंत्री की चुप्पी का कारण क्या है। प्रधानमंत्री ना कुछ कर रहे हैं और ना कुछ बोल रहे हैं। प्रधानमंत्री की चुप्पी का कारण क्या है, ये पूरे देश के अंदर इस वक्त चर्चा का विषय। और ये पहली बार नहीं है, पिछले 9 साल के अंदर जब जब इस देश के ऊपर आपदा आई, जब जब इस देश के अंदर कोई आपदा आई, ये प्रधानमंत्री चुप हो गए, अपने कमरे में जाके अंदर कुंडी मार के बैठ गए। ये प्रधानमंत्री मैदान छोड़ के भाग गए। ये प्रधानमंत्री कहीं दिखाई नहीं दिए, लोग चिल्लाते रहे। अभी थोड़े दिन पहले मेरे को याद है, जंतर मंतर के ऊपर हमारी महिला पहलवान जंतर मंतर के ऊपर बैठी थी। उनके आरोप थे कि उनके साथ कुश्ती फेडरेशन के प्रेसिडेंट ब्रजभूषण सिंह ने उनके साथ छेड़खानी किया और उनके साथ गलत हरकतें की है। यही महिला पहलवान जब मेडल जीत के आई थी ओलंपिक के अंदर, तो प्रधानमंत्री जी सबसे पहले फोटो खिंचवाने पहुंच गए थे। और वो वीडियो भी देखा मैंने जिसमें उन्होंने महिला पहलवानों को कहा, बेटा तुम मेरी बेटियों के समान हो, कल को कोई दिक्कत हो मेरे पास आ जाना। जब उन महिला पहलवानों ने कहा कि हमारे साथ पिताजी, हमारे साथ गड़बड़ हो गई, हमारे साथ बदसलूकी हो गई, तो प्रधानमंत्री जी चुप हो गए। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने चुप्पी साध ली। कम से कम इतना तो कह देते, प्रधानमंत्री जी अगर इतना ही कह देते कि बेटा चिंता ना करो, मैं हूं, मैं जांच कराऊंगा, दोषियों को सजा दिलवाऊंगा, कम से कम लोगों को संतुष्टि तो मिल जाती कि प्रधानमंत्री है। मणिपुर के केस में कम से कम इतना ही कह देते, मणिपुर के लोगों को एक अपील, शांति की अपील ही कर देते प्रधानमंत्री कि मैं मणिपुर के लोगों से शांति की अपील करता हूं कि कृपया हिंसा मत कीजिए। शांति की अपील तक नहीं करते हमारे प्रधानमंत्री, कमरे में कुंडी मार के बैठ जाते। जब ये महिला पहलवान थी, महिला पहलवानों को एक अपील कर देते, वो तो बेचारी केवल प्रधानमंत्री से 2 शब्द सुनने के लिए बेताब थी। अगर वो कह देते कि बेटा चिंता ना करो, जिसने भी तुम्हारे साथ गड़बड़ किया मैं उनको बख्शूंगा नहीं। उन्होंने क्या किया? सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाना पड़ा इन बिचारी महिला पहलवानों को एक एफआईआर दर्ज कराने के लिए, एक एफआईआर दर्ज कराने के लिए। ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री हैं। जब चाइना पिछले 9 साल से चाइना हमें आंख दिखा रहा है, जब देखो चाइना हमें आंख दिखा रहा है, प्रधानमंत्री जी चुप हैं, प्रधानमंत्री जी के मुंह बंद है, प्रधानमंत्री के मुंह से चाइना शब्द नहीं निकलता इस प्रधानमंत्री के मुंह से।
So remember, the Delhi Assembly session is currently underway and the Delhi Chief Minister is speaking on the floor of the House. He is currently speaking about the Manipur crisis and accusing the Prime Minister of staying mum even in the face of it. Let me take this across to my colleague Akash, who is joining us on the broadcast now. Akash, this is the first time after the passage of the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi bill that the Delhi Assembly has been reconvened. While on the one hand, the Chief Minister of the National Capital is speaking inside the Assembly, what we see outside are protests by the Bharatiya Janata Party. On what grounds are the protests happening, Akash?
Griha, you see, these leaders are protesting as of now. These are the MLAs of BJP in the National Capital, and they are protesting as of now because they were marshalled out. And the reason why they were, they were sent out of the assembly was because they were protesting.
Akash, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, please go on, Akash.
So these MLAs are basically protesting because they are saying that in Delhi Assembly we should talk about issues related to Delhi. Manipur is something that Manipur Assembly is discussing, and in fact this issue has been discussed by Parliament. In fact, the BJP leaders are saying that it was Home Minister Amit Shah who clarified on Manipur issue. But as far as Delhi Assembly is concerned, so this particular session is called for the issues related to Delhi, and we should talk about Delhi. This is what their argument was. In fact, they were categorically saying, and in fact, they were accusing Aam Aadmi Party government of promoting hatred and promoting the sort of incidents that have happened.
Okay, Akash, I'd request you to stay on with us. RP Singh of the Bharatiya Janata Party, who is also part of the protest, is speaking. Let's listen.
लोगों को धमकाकर उनसे रंगदारी ली जा रही है, उसमें हिस्सा पत्ती ली जा रही है। स्पष्ट है कि एक बड़ा खेल हो रहा है दिल्ली के अंदर, और दिल्ली के आम आदमी पार्टी के विधायक नरेश बनियाल उसमें बातचीत करते पकड़े गए, हिस्सेदारी में हिस्सा मांगते पकड़े गए। और मेरा सीधा आरोप है कि हिस्सेदारी सिर्फ बलियान तक नहीं, ऊपर तक जा रही है। नहीं तो अब तक बलियान को पार्टी से निकालकर बाहर किया होता, उसकी सदस्यता खत्म की होती। ये खेल बड़ा है, इसकी सीबीआई जांच होगी तो परतें खुलेंगी, पता लगेगा ये क्या पूरा खेल मुख्यमंत्री तक जाता है या नहीं जाता है।
All right, that was RP Singh of the Bharatiya Janata Party, who is along with the other members of the BJP protesting outside the Delhi Assembly, even as the Delhi Chief Minister speaks inside the floor of the House. Remember, the Assembly session that has convened yesterday is after that tussle between the Delhi Deputy Speaker Rakhi Birla and also the Lieutenant Governor Mr. VK Saxena over his letter that he'd sent to the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. And now, with this conversation centered around Manipur inside the Delhi Assembly, there is ruckus that the Bharatiya Janata Party has created after the marshalling out of 4 of its MLAs, and because of which you can see the protests that are happening by the BJP cadre outside the Delhi Assembly. Now, we are also given to understand that even as the Delhi Chief Minister speaks about the Manipur crisis, Bharatiya Janata Party has staged an absolute walkout. They are not going to be a part of this discussion. And there was already a conundrum that was ensuing over the LG VK Saksena's letter that he had in fact written to the Chief Minister, where it said it was not really correct for the Delhi Assembly to be convening only for a 2-day session. However, the Delhi Assembly's Deputy Speaker Rakhi Birla on the otherwise is claiming that this is well within the entire norms, that the session can be convened anytime. In fact, also joined on the broadcast by Mr. Ramveer Biduri, who is with us at the moment. Mr. Biduri, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। सबसे पहले तो ये जितनी प्रोटेस्ट हो रही हैं बीजेपी की तरफ से दिल्ली असेंबली के बाहर, हमने ये भी देखा कि काफ़ी रकस हुआ, 4 आपके जो मेंबर्स हैं उनको बाहर निकाला गया दिल्ली असेंबली से, और अब ये प्रोटेस्ट इवन एज चीफ मिनिस्टर जो हैं वो अभी भी बात कर रहे हैं और मणिपुर क्राइसिस के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं।
देखिए, हमारे 6 विधायकों को सदन से बाहर निकाला गया। मैंने और विजेंद्र गुप्ता जी ने उसके विरोध में सदन से वॉकआउट किया। हमने डिप्टी स्पीकर से यही आग्रह किया था कि दिल्ली आम आदमी पार्टी के एक विधायक और दर्जनों उनके वरिष्ठ नेता गैंगस्टर के साथ मिलकर लोगों से जबरन वसूली कर रहे हैं और उसके प्रमाण भी मिल गए हैं। इस पर अरविंद केजरीवाल अपने विधायक की स्थिति स्पष्ट करे। हमने ये भी मांग की कि अरविंद केजरीवाल की सरकार ने दिल्ली में पिछले कुछ सालों में दर्जनों घोटाले किए हैं, चाहे वो जल बोर्ड का घोटाला है, चाहे शराब का घोटाला है, चाहे क्लासरूम घोटाला है, चाहे पैनिक घोटाला है, चाहे शीशमहल घोटाला है, चाहे डीटीसी का घोटाला है, चाहे बिजली का घोटाला है। तो इन सभी घोटालों पर अरविंद केजरीवाल की सरकार चर्चा करवाए और अपोजिशन की तरफ से जो आरोप लगाए जाए उन पर अरविंद केजरीवाल विधानसभा के अंदर अपनी सरकार की स्थिति स्पष्ट करे। दिल्ली में अनेक तरह की समस्याएं हैं। आज बिजली के नाम पर लोगों को लूटा जा रहा है, लोगों को दूषित पानी उपलब्ध कराया जा रहा है। दिल्ली में ये पिछले 8 सालों में डीटीसी के लिए एक बस नहीं खरीद पाए, एक कॉलेज नहीं खोल पाए। दिल्ली के हॉस्पिटल्स में दवाई नहीं है, दवाई है तो डॉक्टर नहीं है, डॉक्टर है तो दवाई नहीं है। और दिल्ली की जो स्थिति है बहुत ज्यादा खराब हो गई है। दिल्ली की सड़कें टूटी पड़ी हैं। दिल्ली दुनिया की सबसे ज्यादा प्रदूषित राजधानी WHO ने घोषित कर दी है। दिल्ली सरकार के हॉस्पिटल्स के बारे में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि दिल्ली सरकार के हॉस्पिटल्स की हालत बूचड़ खाने से भी ज्यादा खराब है। तो हमने कहा कि आप दिल्ली की समस्याओं को लेकर दिल्ली में चर्चा करवाइए, विधानसभा में चर्चा करवाइए। मणिपुर पर पार्लियामेंट में चर्चा हो चुकी है। मणिपुर पर देश के प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने लाल किले के ऐतिहासिक प्राचीर से आधे घंटे तक देशवासियों को विस्तार से उसकी जानकारी दी है। तो आप दिल्ली की जो समस्याएं हैं या जो हजारों करोड़ रुपए का जो भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है या आधी रात में जो सरकारी फाइलें दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री और एक अन्य मंत्री के इशारे पर चोरी की गई है, उस पर अरविंद केजरीवाल की सरकार विधानसभा में अपनी स्थिति को स्पष्ट करे। तो अरविंद केजरीवाल दिल्ली की समस्याओं पर चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। हजारों करोड़ रुपए के जो घोटाले हुए उन पर चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। आम आदमी पार्टी का एक विधायक और एक दर्जन से ज्यादा आम आदमी पार्टी के वरिष्ठ नेता गैंगस्टर हैं, लोगों से जबरन वसूली कर रहे हैं, यह प्रूव हो गया है।
So, Mr. Biduri, you are basically leveling extortion charges at, Aam Aadmi Party MLAs. But thank you so much for joining us, because the essential claim that the BJP is making, this was the leader of the opposition in the Delhi Assembly, Mr. Ramveer Singh Biduri. Now, he is claiming that rather than discussing issues that plague the national capital, what the Delhi government is planning on doing is discuss Manipur, which has already been discussed both in the parliament and also has been used as a reference as part of the Prime Minister's speech when he was speaking from the ramparts of the Red Fort. And that is the claim over which BJP has staged a walkout from the Delhi Assembly, and they are protesting outside even as the Delhi Chief Minister speaks inside the Assembly. What we're doing is shifting our focus now and talking about this next big controversy that has erupted after Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, who is the former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, has sparked that renewed debate with his remarks on the historical backdrop of religions in India. In a video that's circulating on various social media platforms, Ghulam Nabi Azad is seen sharing his perspective, where he goes on to claim, and I'm quoting from his claims, that all individuals were initially associated with the Hindu religion in this nation. He was addressing a gathering in the Thatri region of Doda district in Jammu and Kashmir, where he commented that around 1500 years ago Islam emerged, whereas Hinduism has ancient tools. He also went on to say that conversions from Hinduism to Islam occurred within the Indian subcontinent, and politics over these statements have now erupted as his remarks have spurred a big controversy, with the National Conference now slamming Azad's remarks. The NC has alleged that Azad is working as a B team of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and he in fact has made this statement to please his masters in the BJP. Let's take a look.
मैं पार्लियामेंट में बोला बहुत सारी चीजें जो यहाँ आपको नहीं पहुंचती। हमारे बीजेपी के किसी लीडर ने बताया कि भाई कोई बाहर से आए हैं, कोई अंदर से आए। मैंने कहा देखो, अंदर बाहर से कोई नहीं आया। हमारे हिंदुस्तान में इस्लाम सिर्फ वैसे पूरा इस्लाम तो आया ही है 1500 साल पहले। हिंदू धर्म बहुत पुराना है। तो बाहर से आए होंगे 10-20, वो जब मुगलों के वक्त में उनकी फौज में थे। बाकी तो सब हिंदू से ही कन्वर्ट हुए हैं मुसलमान हिंदुस्तान में। और उसकी मिसाल हमारी कश्मीर में है। कश्मीर में कौन था 600 साल पहले मुसलमान? सब कश्मीरी पंडित थे, सब वही इस्लाम कर गए, बन गए। तो मैंने कहा सब इसी धर्म में पैदा हुए।
वो किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में कहा ना, अब मैं इसमें कह नहीं सकता हूँ। ये तो आपको आज़ाद साहब से कहना होगा। आज़ाद साहब ने किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में कहा, क्यों कहा, किसको खुश करने के लिए कहा, ये तो आज़ाद साहब ही कह सकते हैं ना, मैं नहीं कह सकता।
आज़ाद जिसे मैं कहता हूं कि आप एक समय निश्चित करिए, हिंदू महासभा आपको हिंदू सनातन धर्म में प्रवेश की करने के लिए पूरी व्यवस्था करेगी, यज्ञ अनुष्ठान कराएंगे और आपको हिंदू सनातन धर्म में आपका स्वागत करेंगे। तो मैं तो चाहता हूं वो गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब आए, अपने अनुयायियों को लाना, अनुयायियों को भी लाए जो आना चाहते हैं। आप तो एक उच्च परंपरा के ब्राह्मण थे वहाँ से और कन्वर्ट हो गए। वहाँ पे काफ़ी गुजर हैं, ब्राह्मण हैं जो कन्वर्ट हो गए, जैसे फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब हैं, चाहे और भी तमाम जितने महबूबा, ये सब तो हिंदू ही थे। आज जो हमारे खून के प्यासे हो गए, भाई भाई के खून के प्यासे हैं, तो इसलिए प्यासे हैं कि वो हमें काफिर समझते हैं। जैसे हिंदू सनातन धर्म में आएंगे वो सबको वसुदेव कुटुंबकम की भाव आ जाएगा।
बशीर साहब किस तरह से गुलाम नबी आज़ाद के उस बयान को लेते हैं जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि इस्लाम बाद में आया, पहले हिंदुज़्म था, और कश्मीरी पंडित जो है कश्मीर में वो भी सभी जो यहाँ पहले वहाँ सिर्फ कश्मीरी पंडित रहते थे, फिर कन्वर्जन हुआ और फिर इस्लाम उन्होंने किया। तो किस तरह से इस चीज़ को लेते हैं?
जी, गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब ने जो बयान दिया है ये किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में दिया है। उन्होंने ये कहा है कि पार्लियामेंट में और बातों के अलावा उन्होंने इस बात के ऊपर भी बात की है कि इस्लाम यहाँ कब आया और हिंदू धर्म जो है वो सबसे पुराना है। इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है, लेकिन सियासत को धर्म से अलग रखना जरूरी है। किसी भी सियासी लीडर को ये काम धर्म गुरु का है, वो ये देखें कि कौन चीज़ पहले आई कौन बाद आई और उसके ऊपर बहस वो करें। तो गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब ने जो बात करी है उसको मैं ये कहूँगा कि ये नागपुर एजेंडा ना चलाए, ये उनका इशू है, वो करने दें उनको। ये अपने आप को बी टीम साबित करने की कोशिश कर रहा है कि मैं यहाँ बीजेपी की बी टीम हूँ।
एक पार्ट में उनकी अज्ञानता बिल्कुल साफ झलकती है, क्योंकि हमारी मान्यताओं के मुताबिक, इस्लामिक मान्यताओं के मुताबिक, जो दुनिया का सबसे पहला इंसान है जिसको हम हज़रत आदम कहते हैं, जो हिंदुस्तान में आया सबसे पहला इंसान, वो मुसलमान था। उनकी जो वाइफ थी हज़रत हव्वा, वो भी मुसलमान थी। जन्नत से उनको उतारा गया हमारी मान्यताओं के मुताबिक, और वो अल्लाह के नबी थे, नबी मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड। जैसे मोहम्मद साहब मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड थे, हज़रत आदम सबसे पहले मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड थे, हज़रत मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सबसे बाद के मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड जो 1500 साल पहले आए। तो ये कहना कि इस्लाम 1500 साल पहले आए, ये अज्ञानता है, उनको जानकारी नहीं इस्लाम के बारे में।
And on that note, I'm slipping into a very short break here on CNN News 18. We'll be right back with all the top stories of the day.
से देखा हुआ है, और ये सारा का सारा जो हमारा घर जो भ्रष्ट हुआ है, वो जो त्रासदी है, इसको हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा है। और ये बहुत ही दुखद है कि प्रशासन के लोग जो थे, वो स्टेट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वाले लोग भी यहाँ अब तक, जब तक आप रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं तब तक यहाँ कोई नहीं आया हुआ है। और हमारा सरकार से निवेदन रहेगा कि इस पूरी के पूरी जोन में, क्योंकि हर जगह दरारें आ गई हैं, और सरकार से मेरा निवेदन रहेगा कि इसका जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे करवाया जाए, ताकि लोगों में जो दहशत है वो ख़त्म हो सके और लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ पर रह सकें। अगर ये बर्थ प्लेस जो है वो रहने लायक नहीं बचा है, तो सरकार इसका सर्वे करवा करके हमें उचित मुआवजा दें लोगों को, ताकि उनका वो पुनर्वास कर सके।
मैम, मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ, बहुत ही कठिन समय है आप लोगों के लिए। मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफेक्टेड है आपका। आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग। बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है। तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा, तो मैं 3 जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ। जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है, ये गांव पूरा मेरा। दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बनाया, वो भी सारी सिरखट जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है। तीसरी जगह जहाँ बेटी की शादी की है, वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं, वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के हम, मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं, और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम, तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा, आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे, तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर है।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया, और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं। तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है, वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे पानी की आवाज़ आई, और पत्थर इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए। और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है, तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर, चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन लोगों ने सब ने मिल के बाहर निकाला। वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं। तो उनको सरका घाट वो बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया, फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया। तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है। और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं, और हमारी मांग है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो। और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे। होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we're understanding a key highway is also completely closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll. Roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now completely shut or blocked?
Well, Ridhima, the situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular, I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Sugain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see. So this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that, this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here, how you can see how trees being uprooted. In fact, before this cloud burst happened, what we are given to understand, this was a normal road where the people used to commute, but now you can see this place has entirely changed into a ghost valley over here. In fact, these stones, they were not here.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha. We're now getting some breaking news, and this concerns the Gautam Das remark against the Prime Minister that Congress leader Pawan Khera had made in the month of February. Now we are learning that the Allahabad High Court has dismissed the Congress spokesperson Pawan Khera's plea, seeking the quashing of the entire case, the criminal proceedings against him for his alleged Narendra Gautam Das Modi remark that he'd made against the Prime Minister in February. On what grounds has that plea been squashed? Let me actually take this across to my colleague Amit Singh, who's joining us on the broadcast for all the details that he has for us. Amit, on what grounds has this happened?
It's a big setback for कांग्रेस स्पोक्सपर्सन पवन खेरा को करारा झटका है ये इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट से। और पवन खेरा दरअसल अनकंडीशनल अपॉलॉजी मांग रहे थे। उन्होंने रिटन एफिडेविट दी थी कोर्ट में। उसके बावजूद जिस तरीके से उन्होंने रिमार्क प्राइम मिनिस्टर को लेकर बोला था, गौतम दास को लेकर जिस तरीके से उन्होंने कहा था, उसको लेकर हाई कोर्ट काफी ज्यादा नाराजगी थी। अभी बीते कल ही पवन खेरा को जमानत दी गई थी इस पूरे मामले में, लेकिन उन्होंने जो पुलिस के द्वारा जो एफिडेविट फाइल की गई थी उसको चैलेंज किया था। तो जाहिर तौर पे जो उनके ग्राउंड्स थे चैलेंजिंग के, वो कहीं ना कहीं उससे सहमत नहीं हुआ इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट, और आखिरकार काफी बड़ा करारा झटका है ये पवन खेरा के लिए।
All right, Amit, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with all the latest when it comes to this setback for the Congress spokesperson Pawan Khera. We are now shifting our focus to Sharad Pawar's rally, who's currently in Bir. Remember, he had announced that he is going to be making it to the stronghold of one of Ajit Pawar loyalists. He's speaking in Bir. Listen in.
सेवा करणारा हा अत्यंत आदरणीय आहे आणि या सरकारला त्या संबंधीची चिंता नाही।
Today the farmer, the laborer, they're all toiling for the people and the government doesn't care for them.
राज्य सरकारची असते। आज काय स्थिती?
This is the responsibility of the state government.
त्यांनी केला मणिपूर या देशाचा उत्तरेकडचा हा भाग,
Manipur is a state in the eastern part of the country.
नागालँड आहे, सिक्कीम आहे,
Manipur,
अरुणाचल
Nagaland,
आहे,
Sikkim,
छोटी
Arunachal.
राज्य, पण अतिशय
Small
महत्वाच्या
states.
ठिकाणची राज्य। त्या
These are at
राज्याच्या
an extremely
पलीकडे
strategic location.
प्रत्येक राज्याच्या शेजारी हा एक पाकिस्तान तरी आहे किंवा चीन तरी आहे, आणि ह्या दोन्ही देशाची नजर हिंदुस्थानकडे,
Now,
भारताकडे
both these countries,
ही चांगली
China
नाही।
keeps an eye on this region.
संकट आलं तर तिथून काय होईल
They don't have a good intent about India.
सतर्क राहण्याचं काम भारतीय सैन्याला नेहमी करावं लागतं। अशाच
That is why the Indian army has to always be there to protect.
दुसरा देश आहे आज तो
There's another country beyond Manipur.
समाजामध्ये भांडणं झाली,
There
गावागावामध्ये
are fights
अंतर
between different communities.
एक वर्ग विरुद्ध दुसरा वर्ग, हल्ले होत आहेत, घरं जाळली जात आहेत, उद्योग नष्ट केले जात आहेत, स्त्रियांची धिंड काढली जाते आणि
Businesses
हे सगळे होत
are
असताना
being
सुद्धा
destroyed. Women
देशाचं
are
सुख
being
असलेलं
paraded.
भाजपचं सरकार कुठल्याही प्रकारची पावले टाकत नाही.
And yet, the state government is not doing anything.
इतक्या भगिनींची त्या ठिकाणी दुर्दशा झाल्याच्या नंतर,
And then the Prime Minister of the
फेटवल्याच्या
country
नंतर समाजातल्या लोकांना दिलासा देण्यासाठी मणिपूरला जायची आवश्यकता होती, पण तिकडे
there was a need to go to Manipur in order to give a sense of relief to the people there.
2 दिवस आधी 3 मिनिटं फक्त मणिपूर बद्दल ते बोलले आणि अविश्वासाचा ठराव आल्याच्या नंतर आणखीन 4-5
After the
मिनिटं
no
बोलले.
confidence motion,
पण हे दुःख, त्या भगिनींचं
he
दुःख
spoke.
हे देशाच्या प्रधानमंत्र्यांनी समजून घेतलं नाही.
But the Prime Minister of the country did not understand the pain
अनेक
of the
ठिकाणी
region of
आपल्याला
Manipur.
बघायला मिळते आणि ती करायची असेल तर काही वेगळा विचार करावा लागेल. केंद्रावर
There will have to
विश्वास
be a
चालणार
different
नाही.
thought.
लोकशाहीमध्ये लोकांनी निवडून दिलेली सरकार फाडण्याचा उद्योग केला जातो. गोव्याचं सरकार फाडलं होतं, कर्नाटकचं सरकार फाडलं होतं,
Goa government
उद्धव
was brought down,
ठाकरेंचं
Karnataka
महाराष्ट्राचं
government was
सरकार
brought down,
फाडलं होतं,
Maharashtra government was brought down.
मध्य प्रदेश इथे सरकार फाडलं होतं. तुम्ही स्थिर सरकार देण्याची घोषणा करता आणि लोकांनी निवडून दिलेली सरकार केंद्राची सत्ता वापरून उद्ध्वस्त
You
करता
bring down the
आणि
government that
सामान्य
has been
माणसाचं
elected
जीवन
by the
हे
people
एका दृष्टीने उद्ध्वस्त करता.
by the misuse of central
आणि म्हणून
government. And that's why,
ही सगळी आव्हानं आपल्या पुढे आहेत, ज्यांना आपण सत्ता
because
दिली,
of all these challenges that are
सत्ता
in front of us
दिलेले
today,
योग्य पद्धतीने वागत नाही. कुठे काही होते.
these people
त्या ठिकाणी जितेंद्र आव्हाड आहेत,
do
गेल्या
not
आठवड्यामध्ये
behave well.
त्यांच्या शहरामध्ये, ठाणे शहरात सरकारचं
Today,
हॉस्पिटल
Jitendra
आहे
Award
आणि
constituency
सरकारच्या हॉस्पिटलमध्ये
in Thane,
अशा
the government
लोकांचा
hospital,
जीव त्या ठिकाणी गेली. त्याच्यात बालकं होती, त्याच्यात आया
18
बहिणी होत्या,
persons lost their lives
त्याच्यात वडील झाली होती.
in the government
हॉस्पिटलमध्ये
hospital.
गेल्याच्या नंतर आजारी माणसाला आधार देण्याची जबाबदारी त्या हॉस्पिटलमध्ये 18 लोक
It was
2
the
दिवसात
responsibility
मृत्युमुखी पडतात
to
आणि
give
हे
relief to the
राज्य
families.
सरकार वगैरेची भूमिका घेते. याचा अर्थ
And
राज्य
yet
कुठे
the
चाललंय
government
आणि
takes
कसं
the
चाललंय
position
या
of
संबंधीचा
only being the
अनुभव
mute
हा आपल्या
spectator.
सगळ्यांना बघायला मिळतो. आणि म्हणून वेळ आलेली आहे, ती वेळ या चुकीच्या लोकांना आवरायची.
And that's why
सत्याचा गैरवापर.
these are the wrong people
आज
in whose hands the power is there.
काही लोक आहेत
And yet,
आमच्या बरोबर राजकारणात नव्हते, पण काहीतरी कसलं
they were not with us in
काहीतरी
politics.
मुद्दा काढला आणि महिने तुरुंगात त्यांनी टाकले. आणि विशेषतः
People who stood against them
या गोष्टी अधिक होत्या.
have gone to hospital, jail for months at end.
सत्तेचा गैरवापर करून लोकांना तुरुंगात डांबून
Today,
या
there
ठिकाणी
has
एक
been gross
वेगळं राजकारण
misuse
करत असेल तर ठीक आहे, तुम्ही आज
of
करता,
power.
पण एक द्यायची सामुदायिक शक्ती एकसंघ झाली तर असलेलं राजकारण करणाऱ्यांना उलटून टाकण्याच्यासाठी कधीही वेळ लागणार नाही आणि ते करायला आमचे तरुण लोक हे तयार झाल्याचे राहणार नाही. आणि
This kind of
त्यासाठी खऱ्या
politics will have to be
अर्थानं
overturned, and we are prepared for that.
जिल्ह्यातले नेते काय झालं त्यांना माहिती नाही. एका नेत्यांनी सांगितलं,
I don't know what has happened to the leaders of this district.
हा पक्ष सोडून गेला. चौकशी केली, काय झालं, कालपर्यंत ठीक होता. नाही म्हणजे त्यांना सांगितलं कोणतरी. काय सांगितलं, कुणी सांगितलं, त्यांना सांगितलं
I don't know what was told to them.
काय सांगितलं, नाही म्हणजे आता पवार साहेबांचं वय झाले आणि त्यामुळं आपल्याला भविष्यात असा विचार करायचा असेल
They said that now Pawar said is old, and so now
की माझं वय झालं
we have to have a political
माझं
future.
काय बघितले
We have to think of another leader.
तुम्हाला
LIC presents actually rolled down from the top, and in fact the silver lining in this entire case is that no one was injured, gravely injured, and no casualty was reported from this very spot. Something to worry is that the water is still coming from the upper zones, which actually creates a lot of problem for these people, because with water the stones also come down to this very place, and in fact there is a current in the water, there is a heavy pressure in the water, and that is why this entire situation is very sensitive. In fact, I have the person whose home has been affected by this. Sir, मैं एक चीज़ समझना चाहूँगा आपसे, पहले तो ये बताइए कब ये घटना हुई एग्जैक्टली, और क्या कुछ हुआ, और आप कहाँ थे उस समय पे?
एक्चुअली ऐसा है कि 13 अगस्त की सुबह लगभग 6:30 बजे के करीब जब हम उठे और लोगों ने आवाज़ें लगाना शुरू की कि क्लाउड ब्रस्ट हो गया है, और जो मिट्टी की एक स्मेल जैसी होती है वो हम सब ने उसको महसूस किया, और तभी हम सभी लोग घर से वहाँ से भागे, और जो एडजॉइनिंग हमारे पास वहाँ पर घर थे उसकी स्लैब के ऊपर खड़े होकर के देखने लगे कि क्या हुआ। जितना भी ये डैमेज हुआ है इसका मंजर हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा हुआ है, और ये सारा का सारा जो हमारा घर जो ब्रस्ट हुआ है वो जो त्रासदी है इसको हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा है, और ये बहुत ही दुखद है कि प्रशासन के लोग जो थे वो स्टेट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वाले लोग भी यहाँ अब तक, जब तक आप रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं तब तक यहाँ कोई नहीं आया हुआ है। और हमारा सरकार से निवेदन रहेगा कि इस पूरी के पूरी जोन में, क्योंकि हर जगह दरारें आ गई हैं, और सरकार से मेरा निवेदन रहेगा कि इसका जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे करवाया जाए ताकि लोगों में जो दहशत है वो ख़त्म हो सके और लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ पर रह सकें। अगर ये बर्थ प्लेस जो है वो रहने लायक नहीं बचा है तो सरकार इसका सर्वे करवा करके हमें उचित मुआवजा दे लोगों को ताकि उनका वो पुनर्वास कर सके।
मैम, मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ बहुत ही कठिन समय है आप लोगों के लिए। मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफ़ेक्टेड है आपका। आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग। बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है। तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा, तो मैं 3 जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ। जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है, ये गांव पूरा मेरा। दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बना है वो भी सारी सिरखड़ जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है। तीसरी जगह जहाँ बेटी की शादी की है वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं, वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के हम, मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ था प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं, और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम, तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे, तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर है।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया, और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं। तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे पानी की आवाज़ आई, और पत्थर इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए। और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है, तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन लोगों ने सब ने मिल के बाहर निकाला। वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं। तो उनको सरका घाट वो बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया, फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया। तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है, और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं। और हमारी मांग है आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो, और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे, होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we are understanding a key highway is also completely closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll, roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now completely shut or blocked?
Well, Ridhima, the situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular, I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Zukain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see. So this was the very place where that.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha. Now let's get you some story from Karnataka, where there is a mega protest that has now erupted in the state after the government has released the Kaveri water into the state of Tamil Nadu. The farmers in the Mandya district have condemned that decision by the state government and demanded that the Karnataka government immediately stop the release of water and cautioned of intensifying their agitation if that did not happen. Even the Bharatiya Janata Party and the JDS have cornered the Siddaramaiah government in the state that he should stop the release of the water and take the interest of the farmers as paramount. And in fact, remember, this comes after Tamil Nadu government has filed a petition before the apex court, where the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. M.K. Stalin, in fact, penned down a letter to the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, seeking his immediate intervention and instruction to the Karnataka government, the Congress government in the state of Karnataka, to release their due share of water from the Kaveri river. The decided amount of water that should be released as per the Supreme Court decision has been 16,000 cusecs. Right now, what has been decided by the Siddaramaiah government is that 10,000 cusecs of water is going to be released.
The government 4-5 days back said there's no question of releasing water to the Tamil Nadu. Today you have water being released. The Deputy Chief Minister says that they're compelled to do it. He's saying the farmers should go to the Supreme Court. As a former water resources minister, how do you see this, sir?
This is unprecedented and uncalled for. I don't know what is the briefing to the Deputy CM and Water Resource Minister Shiv Kumar. See, basically they should have put up our case very strongly in CWMA, where Water Management Authority will look into the releases of water. Tamil Nadu is supposed to use 32 TMC of water. They use 60 TMC for Kurvai crop. They are supposed to irrigate 1.8 lakh hectare. They have irrigated more than 4 lakh hectare. And it is there to see. And now they got set their eye on Karnataka water, and Karnataka government, neither they protested in CWMA nor they released water to the farmers in the right time. They delayed it. Now what is the storage? It was for the Karnataka farmers. Tamil Nadu is taking its claim, and government of Karnataka meekly is releasing water. They should have put forth their case in CWMA. Now in Supreme Court they have to fight it. Instead of fighting the case for the state, they are meekly bulking under the pressure of Tamil Nadu, which is a